Don't let the man get you down. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable FORTSTOCK event.
Please welcome the fab mentor of Fixed Ops, Fred Fordin of ASR Pro fame.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Many of us will recognize the name of Fred Fordin, the gentleman on the screen with us, a great ambassador for the automotive industry and fixed operations. Fred, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. Good to be back, as always.
Great to have you. You know, I sometimes introduce you, Fred Fordin of ASR Pro fame, but for those of us who don't know who Fred Fordin is, give us a little background for the audience today.
Sure. So I built the product known as ASR Pro, which today is CDK Service and X-Time Inspect. We don't have enough time here to talk about how both companies got it, but it was a good story. From there, sold my company to DealerTRAC. I was the first VP of fixed operations ever in DealerTRAC's world. Moved from there to CDK, where I was the Vice President, General Manager of Business Operations for the DMS and the consulting group, and left there last year, and I'm now out on my own and helping dealers grow.
You were just on the panel that we did on Monday, and that was so impressive, the conversation, you and Steve Greenfield and Brian Kramer and Ed Roberts and Tully, just a great camaraderie there. And, talking about insights into the market, into EVs, what's happening right now in the middle of September, a little bit on AI. So, Fred, really humble. Those are big companies, okay, that you've been involved with. And I know you've been at the very highest levels of those. So looking out, what do you see right now as we look out into the balance of the year, into next year, into your crystal ball? What do you see, for example, on things like mobile service that Ed is doing?
Sure. So yes, that was a great panel. It's a great group of guys. And when we're together, we always end up with a great discussion. Mobile service is the future. As we look at the eventuality, and certainly not current, but as the eventuality of EVs taking over the majority of the vehicles in service, mobile service has to become a bigger thing, because you're going to have less and less need for the vehicles to go up on a lift, and more capability to work under a hood and under a dashboard and get your work done. And so being able to offer that customer satisfaction and attention to detail is really going to be the way of the future.
Are these EV conversations like we just had with the panel, are these expected bumps in the road, when the conversation comes to trade value and, how the OEMs and, lowering MSRPs and Tesla still having the great brand loyalty that it's built over the last several years? Are these just hiccups along the way that are to be expected?
I certainly believe that, Ted. If we look at the history of our business, right, going back, me as a young man in the early 70s, our business didn't change for decades. We basically did the same thing. COVID, well, actually, the 2008, financial setback forced the first major change that we saw in a very, very long time, if not forever, in the car business. From there, COVID gave us the second big, knock on the head of where dealers had to adjust, all of the vendors had to adjust. And I think EVs is that next major hiccup where everybody's learning as they go. You can't know what you haven't done before, right? And so, yes, I think it's a hiccup. I think we're going to see a lot of different ideas born by great leaders, and some of them will take and some of them won't. And there'll be a new path.
They almost go hand in hand. I remember Mark Mickens, who's on our mobile service panel, was fixed operations director here at a dealership in New Jersey that was just starting to get into mobile service, and they got into it in a big way. And he told me the story how he went outside his home and his neighbor, who has a Tesla, was having it serviced in the driveway. And then he went down to get his coffee at the coffee shop, and he noticed that they were servicing a Tesla vehicle there. And he said, I may want to get in this game. And that's really what started the thought process for him, and they kind of do go hand in hand.
Yeah, it's people will adapt as the adaptability becomes easier, right? Some folks are looking now and saying, I never drive 300 miles. This is not a problem for me. I'm back in my garage every night. I can plug in my car. Others are saying, I'm on the road too much. It's not quite where I need it to be yet. We had that discussion in the panel about charging stations and them being available and up and running. And is Tesla stepping on themselves a little bit by allowing other OEMs to get onto their charging stations? All of that remains to be seen. That's the heart of this conversation is, okay, cool. Let's see what happens, because then there has to be adjustment.
When a manufacturer adjusts their MSRP downward of $10,000, Brian Kramer just made a comment to me that tells you something about the margin they've built into some of these products, Fred.
Certainly. That when they dropped the 10,000 on the Lightning, I was about to run out and buy one. But, my wife then said to me, well, a couple of these things have blown up. Let's wait until we get to the point where we know it's totally safe, or I'm not getting in your truck. So I'm still driving my F-150.
Yep. A couple people have said that on the roundtable as well. What about AI? This is probably, we've had a lot of things with AI, a lot of technology on the roundtable, but recently it's been an explosion of conversation on AI. There's a couple companies who are very successful with it who are on the roundtable. I won't mention any names, but they're doing really well in different parts of the retail car business. Others are deploying it, and it's kind of touch and go. What are and it's embedded into a lot of things that we don't even know. What are your thoughts on AI?
Well, true AI, not everybody's cracked that yet. True AI is, Chat GPT kind of AI. We're not really there yet in automotive, but it's coming, and it's coming at different levels, and it's coming with different services. I'm involved with one group right now who, they're a data company, and that's the next step. They've got the data. Now, what do you do with it, right? And so, I think AI is going to make a big impact in automotive, both at the dealership level and at the OEM level, because the OEMs using AI are suddenly going to find that they have access to information they never thought about before, or that they thought about, wish they had and couldn't get.
And it's kind of the Wild West, Fred, because it's really
that's the great part of it. That's the fun, right? It is the Wild West,
which the car business has really been a part of since the inception. And then, of course, things change and rules come into place. But Fred, it's wide open right now.
Yes, it is. It's the funny thing is, if you're a really progressive software vendor right now, and you can get in and find the combination of what's not working. That's how ASR Pro was built. We looked at the industry and said, this piece doesn't work. Let's fix that. When somebody can do that with AI, we're going to see some really cool stuff come out.
Fred, I know a lot of companies seek out your advice because of what you've done on the retail front with a lot of technology, and your advice is valued to a whole lot of people. What do you see now, looking out over the balance of this year? What should we be concerned about, looking at? We got about 3.5 months left in the year, and then, of course, as we get into 2024, what are some of the things that you're looking at and that we should be aware of?
Well, I think it was Brian who brought it up the other day on the conversation that Cox had delivered some financial information saying they saw an uptick for the second half of 24. Their information is usually very reliable. So if we look at that right now, sales declined in August. That's a problem. That's not a good sign for the rest of this year.
Because August is usually a pretty robust month.
Yes, it is.
12 months.
Yes, it is. The summer is usually a great sign of what's coming, and so that was not good news. So I think we're going to see some dealers get a little more conservative. I think this also goes back to the conversation we had the other day, where lots are filling up with EVs and the customers are not quite ready or there yet, and so sales are probably bouncing around those parameters. And I hope Cox is right. I hope the second half of 24 sees cost of living, adjust and have, the financial world just become a prettier picture.
You're a mentor and a teacher to a lot of people, and we frequently talk about the importance of growing our own, bringing new people into the industry. I know you and I came into the industry, as very young people, and the industry has changed. And I've noticed that wages on the dealership side have really increased, it seems, in the last year or 18 months. And maybe that has something to do with inflation as well. But if you were advising somebody right now, a young person or any person thinking of starting a career in retail automotive, what would you say to them if they asked you your advice?
It's a great question. So, there are two different groups of people to talk to, right? One on the fixed side, one on the variable side.
Yeah.
Historically, as we look at the largest percentage of our general managers today, they came up in variable. You have the smaller percentage that came up through fixed. I have a stepson right now who's a service advisor down in Florida, right? And what I told Jesse was, look, I want you to go in. I want you to learn from the ground up. He started as a porter. He became an advisor. Now he's the lead advisor in the dealership that he's in. And the only way he's going to have a successful career in automotive is if he understands every job that he had to do to get there. I think it's important if you're coming into automotive to go get an education, the best one you can. The folks who have gone to is it Northwood? Sorry.
Yes.
The folks who have gone to Northwood come into automotive and they're hitting a level right away that it typically takes other folks years to get to. The education matters, going in and getting an education on the service side. And then from there, it's, you can write your own ticket. Anybody in automotive can succeed if they have the intelligence and the drive, because the rest of what we do is not that difficult. You just got to be focused on the prize.
Northwood University in Midland, Michigan is one of the only schools that offers an automotive marketing degree. And Fred, coming up in just a few weeks on October 6th, Fixed Ops Roundtable is headed to the campus of Northwood, and we're going to do a pop-up event there for the entire day. And it's going to be at their 60th annual International Auto Show, which is all student run. And that's going to be a whole weekend affair. We're only going to be there for the Friday, but we've got a big stage set up, and we've got a lot of alumni and current students from Northwood. And those are some of the questions we're going to be asking them as well. And it's amazing to see a lot of the people that have come out of Northwood that have gone on to careers all over the automotive industry. It's kind of a who's who, and we're excited to go up there and do one of these new pop-up events there as well.
Yeah, and my good friend Mike Stoll from CDK, he's very involved with Northwood. He goes up there, I think it's once a week, and actually teaches a class. And he's been very involved with them for years, and there's just great vibes that come out of that group.
Do you know that Mike Stoll now insists that I call him Professor Stoll as a result of that?
It's Mike.
And he's a great asset to the industry, and he's very involved with Northwood. So and we appreciate all his support and the team up there. Finally, Fred, a lot of people watching today, a lot of dealer people, a lot of OEM people, a lot of people from within the industry. What advice do you have? You mentioned the market and a lot of the changes that have been happening, and they continue to happen. I think it's probably the most exciting part I've ever seen in the automotive business is this window right now. What advice do you have for your peers who are watching today as they listen to you and I speak?
I think the biggest thing, Ted, is if you're a leader, get a coach. I learned a very, very long time ago that no matter how much I know about the given industry that I'm in at the moment, no matter what experiences I've had, no matter how good the team around me is, if I don't give someone permission to be smarter than me, then I'm going to fail at certain things that I otherwise wouldn't. And so, that's about the heartbeat of what I do. And And so my advice to others is, not certainly if it's not me, anyone, but get a good coach. Bounce, it's not about giving you the answers. It's about helping you find the answers within yourself. And because oftentimes they're there. Quick story to go with that. I'm going back now to the early 80s. I had stepped out of automotive for a while. I was in the hospitality industry. And, my business was at a turning point where I had to figure out, based on demographics and other data, was this a good business to stay in, or should I prepare to get out? And I brought in a globally recognized consulting company. Back then, they charged us like $80,000. 2 guys lived with us for 3 weeks, every minute that we were open. And everything that they came back with, they handed us this 70-page written book at the end of 3 weeks. And everything in there I already knew. And my partner already knew. But what they did was they gave us the evidence manual. What I thought now had proof behind it. And once it's in print, you can't ignore it. So getting the help, getting the guidance, getting that person to bounce off of and take some leadership advice from is the best thing any leader can do.
That's actually very timely. I had a fixed ops director reach out to me today, and he asked me who I would recommend as a mentor within the industry to mentor him. And he's involved with a lot of great programs like John Maxwell and all that on his own. So I'll make the first referral to you today, Fred. All right. So it's going to be timely. Fred Fordin, everybody, great leader, great mentor, great teacher, great coach in our industry. So much going on in our automotive industry right now. And we look to the leaders like Fred Fordin for guidance at times like this. So Fred, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Ted.
Fred Fordin, everybody, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Need something to read on the road to FORTSTOCK? Ron Overs, publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine, has got your back on a segment pulled from one of our live pop-up events.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings, and we are so excited to introduce Ron Overs. Ron, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. This should be a lot of fun. Ron Overs, everybody, the publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine. Ron, you and I work on a lot of things together, and we're very grateful to you and for all you do for our industry.
Well, thank you. It is an exciting industry. A lot of fun working with everyone in fixed operations. There's so many new things happening in this industry. It's just fun to get people together and share those ideas to find best practices for everyone.
Yeah.
Ron, I've got to ask you, what have you enjoyed most about being the publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine?
I think what's most fun about being publisher of the magazine is actually the opportunity to bring out people that otherwise wouldn't want to write an article in a magazine. If I came to you and said, you know what, Sarah, I'd like you to stand in front of a football stadium full of people, 40,000 people, and tell them something. You'd say, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, that's exactly what our magazine does. It gets out in front of almost 40,000 people every other month. And you have a chance to actually slow down, choose your words, and say something to them that actually is meaningful and really help them grow. So it's a lot of fun. It really is to actually take people who would otherwise say, I can't do this, and say, come on, together we can make this happen.
And I know you and I see a lot of things happening in our industry. Any trends that you're seeing in that fixed op space right now?
I think the biggest trends that have continued since the COVID time is obviously technicians, finding, training, keeping technicians, motivating people, keeping them where they need to be. And right now, I think what's going to happen over the next year or two is getting labor rates right so that you can actually continue to make profits, having parts available to do things like that, and finding out what technology they can integrate into their business and make it work better.
Yeah, and I see you got a couple issues with you here today.
You know, when I mentioned that we bring some people out who might otherwise not do that, I don't know if you can see this, but, you know, Ted, here's his cover on the magazine. Then, of course, here's another person. I said,
This one's much better.
this is a much prettier picture. I got a Sarah with me. These are like playing cards, right? Now, of course, we always got to have an Ed Roberts, right? So Ed's actually hit 2 covers. So Ed's done some very special things. He's been there as well. And, you know, on your show, you also had Shon Kingrey, and we went all the way to Wisconsin to get Shon's picture on this thing. So lots of fun with all of that, just interviewing these people, learning them, finding out what really makes them, what works well for them.
Ron, you've given such a voice to so many people in the industry, but tell us, what is something that you enjoy doing outside of being a publisher for Fixed Ops Magazine?
So yeah, you want to get away with this, with any business, right? You want to get away from it. For you, equestrian, right? The horses, things like that. You want to do some boating, Ted, and get out there. For me, it's playing tennis. Love playing tennis, and have had a great time doing that. Get to meet lots of people, and really enjoy just getting out and being outdoors here in Florida.
Well, Ron, thanks for all you do for our industry and for literally putting a face on fixed ops, all right? Focusing on the people and as we've been talking today, Sarah, the culture and the processes, you really help bring all that to life.
Thank you, Ted. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, appreciate the friendship. And everybody, Ron Overs, the publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine. Don't go away. We have a lot more coming up at the 3rd pop-up event at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Do you have a great product you want to get in front of auto dealers across the country, and specifically their fixed ops departments? You know, their service, parts, and body shop. For over 15 years, Fixed Ops Magazine has been putting service-related products like yours in front of franchise auto dealers across the country. There simply is no better way to reach every dealer in the USA all at once. Hi, I'm Ron, the publisher of Fixed Ops Magazine, which is both a digital at fixedopsmag.com and print magazine that reaches out to over 38,000 subscribers who influence what products are purchased in the over 16,000 dealers across the country. Fixed Ops Magazine may even publish your article about a topic you are an expert and have a real passion for in this industry. Every article has the author's contact info so they can reach you. Write an article, run an ad, and an e-blast. We call that our bundle for success. You won't believe how great a deal it is. So to get started, call, text, or email me and I'll tell you more. We are 100% devoted to the franchise stores so we don't waste your time or money. We are laser focused on your prospects. Fixed Ops Magazine, the #1 way to get your product in front of auto dealers today. www.fixedopsmag.com. Ron at fixedopsmag.com, 714-803-5476. Fixed Ops Magazine, the #1 way to get your product in front of auto dealers today.
Join us for an exclusive backstage interview with Tony Owens.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Tony Owens is with us. If you check him out on LinkedIn, it'll say Fixed Operations, People Business. He's with the Germain Motor Company, a great friend of the retail community. His star is rising. Tony, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having me, Ted. I really appreciate that.
Tony, I see you everywhere now. It's hard not to miss you, okay? You got a lot going on. Love what you're doing on social media. You and I have been in the business about the same amount of time. So I got a couple questions for you today for our FORTSTOCK event. First of all, Tony, what do you think is the most important thing about managing people? Because I know you've done that for a long time.
Well, the most important, I say this, I tell people this all the time. When you manage people, you have to manage 50 people 50 ways. Everybody has their own personality. Everybody has their own thing. Everybody produces for certain reasons to certain things. What motivates one may not motivate another. It's very important to know your people. get out there every day, talk to the people, know those people, know all of them, know everybody, know the lot people, know the sales managers, know everybody. It's all part of managing people. That's a big thing. It's so gigantic. I can't begin. I found some of this out by accident, but you learn sometimes. And I got some good stories about that, but they're kind of long, and I'm kind of long. So we just won't continue on that. But you manage 50 people 50 ways. You have to know what makes them tick.
You know, it's been said we're not really just in the car business, we're in the people business. And Tony, you are squarely in the people business. And look at all the great people we're surrounded with here, right? Not just at Germain Motor Company, all the friends there, but look at our friends within the industry. Look at Ed Roberts, best team on the planet, B-Top and Tully and the whole group, and Sarah Vantine.
Well, the business is loaded with great people. Ed Roberts is in class of his own. There's nobody better than Ed Roberts. He's the best in the business. He's the best that I've ever seen. I can't get enough of watching him and seeing him. Tully is sensational. The relationship business, he hits it spot on. He knows exactly. It's a people relationship business. He knows it. He gets it. And it's great to be associated with these great men.
A lot of the work that we're seeing now, for example, I mentioned Sarah Vantine at Quantum, you know, is based around culture at the dealership. Who would have thought 5, 10, 15 years ago, we'd be talking about the importance of culture in the dealership, but that's really where everything begins, right? They say there's a technician shortage, you know, really it comes back to the culture at the store. And look at stores, the ones you just mentioned with great culture, how they succeed. So Tony, I want to ask you a little bit about that today. What are your thoughts about culture as it pertains to retail automotive?
Well, culture is everything. If you got great culture, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing your people won't do. It's just the best there is. You have to work on this every day, all day. Always work on the culture. It's the most important thing in the automotive business today. People see that when they come in. People feel it. I worked at a place for 28 years, and it wasn't like that. You walked in, you could feel it. It was like humidity, very negative. A lot of things happened to me, and in 17, as you well know, and I decided, hey, I need to get out of this, and I have been pushing and learning, and I learn every day, and it's very important that you do that. Culture is everything. Always uplift people every day. Know what makes them produce. Know what makes them happy. All through the dealership, work on that with everybody every day. Walk around, get the culture going. Be the cheerleader. They call me the cheerleader at work sometimes, and because I nickname people, and they call me the cheerleader. And you have to lead the cheer. Attitude is everything. If you keep the attitude up and the culture up, you got a winning hand there. You can't lose.
Tony, it was great to see you in Orlando over the summer. Thank you for coming to our pop-up event. We had a lot of fun there. Our friend Ed Roberts was there on stage with us. Sarah Vantine presented him with the Certified Dealer Award. We had a lot of great talent. Some of the names that you just mentioned were there, and it was great that Sarah and I got a chance to interview you there at the pop-up. And it was almost like a homecoming, right? Everybody all getting together. Some of us for the first time.
It was sensational. That was the greatest thing. Meeting Michelle McLean, Marco, Owen. I don't want to leave anybody out. You, of course, Tully, Ed. It was just so sensational. Such a great thing. I feel like I've known y'all forever and we never met. It was sensational. It was the greatest time I ever had, I believe.
You and I you had a chance to really, see a lot behind the scenes at the Fixed Ops Roundtable from the production side too, right? Because there were a lot of interviews that day, right? And we put together the pop-up, and I remember you were with me when we actually did the final rendition of the broadcast. It was late that evening, and we put it all together. So I was really humbled by the fact that you took the time to do that.
Ted, there's nothing I wouldn't do for the Fixed Ops Roundtable. To me, it is the greatest group in the business, with the greatest people in the business, and it's just sensational. It was such a pleasure to be there. Such a big deal to me. Such an honor.
An honor for us as well. Let's talk about technicians, because you work with a lot of technicians and you work with young technicians. At Ed's place, he talks about what a great percentage of his employees, including the techs, are 30 years old or under. We don't see that everywhere. And I think that goes back to what we just talked about with the culture. You working with young techs, tell me about that and give us some color on that.
That's probably the most favorite part of my job. I love dealing with young technicians. They're great people. Every one of them. I spend a lot of time in the morning back in the Quick Lube area, seeing all the techs, working with all the techs, trying to inspire them, motivate them, and shoot, I might even have a tip for them once in a while, because I used to turn some wrenches too. It's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of common ground, and it's just sensational to deal with each and every one of them. It's definitely, without question, the best part of my job. If you're going to keep younger technicians and grow them, you need to start that culture right off the bat. You need to always work on that every day. First of all, make them believe in themselves. If people have a problem believing in themselves, help them believe in themselves. Let them know they're doing a good job. Let them know they're doing great. If they do something that's not so great, hey, no point in getting on them. You talk to them, tell them, hey, it's all right. We're going to get through this. Did you learn anything by it? What did you learn by it? And move on to the next day. It's always a great day. Being a flat rate technician, which they're moving into, and in fact, our Quick Lube guys are flat rate. They need to understand and deal with and cope with the stresses that is in being a flat rate technician. Not everyone understands how stressful that can be. The guys in the front of the store think technicians got it made. They just sit, collect money. Technicians think, well, salespeople sit in the front, collect money. There's a lot of stress in being a technician. One broken bolt can run a day, can run a week. Time is money. I'm crazy about time. It's an obsession of mine. And definitely you have to coach these young people and help them to be the best, help them to believe that's the best, because they're going to be the best if you grow them properly.
I think our friend Tully, who also focuses on time as well, it's all about the hours. Tully Williams. Tully says he wants his techs to go home. What's the phrase, Tony? Rich and tired.
Rich and tired. Rich and tired. Just Marco loves it. Marco loves going home rich and tired.
Yep. And Marco can attest to that. And it was great to meet Marco in person over the summer for those who have not met him yet. He's such a novel technician. In fact, he's a great mentor for those younger ones coming up. And Tony, you're a great mentor for the techs as well, the younger techs.
Well, I try very hard to be. Being an all into this business, in the front end, the back end, it's my passion, the whole dealership, but it's a big passion of mine to work with everybody in the dealership, particularly young people. We've got to help those people succeed. It's the most important thing in the world. You can make a lot of money turning wrenches. It's not like you're graduating from college and getting a $40,000, $50,000 a year teaching job. These guys can make lots of money if they apply themselves. You have to show them how and work with them and teach them how. Have them make a lifetime career out of it. It's gigantic.
You and I started off as young people in the automotive business at about the same time. I was 19 years old, and it was 1981, and I started off at a Ford dealer in New Jersey. And Tony, you started off just like I did, selling cars at a Ford dealer, I believe in Ohio.
Actually, I started off washing cars at a Honda store. Wow. And I washed cars. My first day, I told them, I said, hey, I want to sell cars. They said, yeah, go wash cars. Go. Okay, no. So I went and washed cars for like 14 months. And every once in a while, I tell them, I want to sell cars. I want to sell cars. Well, all of a sudden, they give me that shot. I started selling cars and sold a whole lot of cars. I don't know how. People just bought cars from me. The sales end of the business is sensational. I'm a student of the business front and back every day. I love the sales end too. Shoot, I got nicknames for those people too. and we associate with each other on a daily basis several times.
I know you got the nicknames, and and we often talk about that quite a bit. Talk to me about women in retail automotive. You know, when I first got in the business, there were a few, they did very well in retail automotive. I always wondered why there weren't more. And I think over the years now it's evolved and it's changed. And, you know, while it was always tough for everybody to make it in automotive, I think the women had a tough road as well. Talk to me about today. Here we are in September, you know, going into the last part of the year. Talk to me about the retail automotive business as a career for women getting in.
Well, it has evolved. It hasn't evolved enough. I don't categorize people or stereotype people, but as a rule, women are built for this business.
Mm-hmm.
They are much more relationship oriented. They're much more detail oriented as a rule. They have so many qualities that women belong in dealerships. They need to be there in any capacity because they're sensational people on the job, in the workplace. To me, you can't have enough women in dealerships. That's just the way it has to be. It's a great way for a female to make lots of money and do well because they're built for it. I mean, let's face it, they are.
Tony, last question for today. What does the future look like for Tony Owens? What's ahead for you? You know, our industry is constantly changing. You're up on the latest technology and things going on. What do you see ahead?
Well, and people laugh at it, but I'm going to be a GM somewhere someday. I'm very well educated in the front and the back of the store, front and back, regardless. My last job that I had for 28 years, while he wasn't a people person, taught me to be a master at finances and statements. I'm very good at them. I'm great with numbers. I'm OCD about numbers, among other things. I believe I'll be a good one. If not, if that don't happen for me, I just want to stay what I'm doing, inspiring and motivating the young people. That's what I want to do.
Tony Owens, everybody, great mentor in our industry. Easy to find on social media. He's on LinkedIn. He's on Facebook. He's in Ohio. He works with the Germain Motor Company. By the way, Tony, that Germain group has got a great history and a great reputation in our industry.
To me, it's the best dealer group in the business. Nobody treats their employees better than the Germain Auto Group. Some of the things they do amaze me. It's amazing. I'm so proud to be a part of the Germain organization. I want to give it all I got every day. I can't wait to get in there every day.
You get in early, and I've been following your posts with the big expansion, okay, that's going on at Germain. I think it's still in the works, but it's getting a lot closer, Tony.
That's very, very, very close. We're just about ready to get the technicians moved in there. It's gigantic. Shoot, the addition is as big as a football field. It's gigantic.
Wow. And where's it located again, Tony? What town?
Beaver Creek, Ohio. And it's right next to our Honda store, which is a great store. Cliff runs a great store over there. And it's sensational. Great place. Like I said, the culture's dynamic. There's going to be a lot of fleet, a lot of EV, some off-road. We got something for everybody, and that shop's probably going to be full when it opens up.
Everybody, if you don't know him yet, Tony Owens, reach out at the Germain Motor Companies on social media. You'll see him everywhere. Great mentor in the industry, great friend of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Tony, on behalf of the Fixed Ops community, thank you for all you do.
It was such a pleasure to be here, Ted. Thank you so much.
Tony Owens, everybody, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
This is our scanning system, which consists of a touchscreen computer and a 60-page per minute duplex scanner. I am going to show you how to scan a typical repair order. Bring up our dealer scanning application. Click on Repair Orders. Place the repair order in the scanner and click on the Scan Repair Order. This will start the scanning process, which will scan all pages front and back and automatically read the repair order number. After scanning is complete, the repair order number will be shown on the screen. For this example, the repair order number is 995957. You can now confirm that the repair order number matches the number on the screen. Then click OK, which converts the scanned pages into a PDF document and saves them into the system. To view the scanned pages, simply click on the View button, which will bring up the repair order where you can easily view and navigate all the scanned pages. You also have the ability to scan small items like battery test printouts or service coupons. Simply load the small items into the scanner and click the Scan Other Items button, and they will be scanned and added to the existing repair order. You can view the scanned items by clicking the View button where you can see the items at the bottom of the PDF document. It is simple. Now, I am going to show you how service advisors, accounting, warranty administrators, parts department, and technicians can easily retrieve the scanned repair orders. Each person will have the repair order viewer on their computer, which allows them to look up repair orders by repair order number, VIN number, or customer name. For this example, we will use the repair order we just scanned, which is 995957. Click Search. The scanned record will be shown, and by clicking on the scanned date, you can see the contents of the scanned repair order. Here, users can print or download or email the repair order document. It is simple. How much does this cost? You don't need to contact us or email us for a quote. We'll give it to you right now. $500 installation fee. $500 monthly service fee per unit. Unlimited scanning. No long-term contract, just month to month. Dealer scanning. Organize your dealership documents, saving time, space, and money.
Let's get back on track with the ReconTRAC panel filmed live at the Orlando pop-up event featuring Brad Schafer, Marco, Tully, and Sarah.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Ted, we have an amazing panel today. Looking forward to talking about vehicle reconditioning.
Yeah, and we've got some of the experts here, including Brad Schafer from ReconTRAC. Brad, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having me.
So we've got a lot of perspectives here. I want to go first to Marco for a technician perspective. Marco, reconditioning has been difficult at many, many dealerships. From a technician's perspective, what are some of the challenges that are being experienced?
As a technician, I like to know, where is my next car to work on at? That has been a hard thing to do with vehicles in the CPOs or used car inspection that are being reconditioned, because there's so many factors involved in it, like a rim repair, glass repair, paint repair. I do not really know where this car physically is on my lot. I built my day based on my computer screen, like what parts came in, what OKs do I have. So to have a system that will show me where this car is at physically and where it's at in the repair process, because if the rims were just done, I don't want to put tires on brand new rims. Brand new rims that just got painted. So where are we at time-wise? Where are we at physically-wise? And when can I get the car to go home rich and tired from fixing it?
Kaylee, you want to do that?
Oh, I just love that. Marco's spot on. But here's the thing with that used cars. Used cars brings a dealership together. Used cars drive sales, parts, and hours in the shop. And what it talks about is what causes that cluster is communication. When the car is bought, how fast can we get that into Marcos's hand to do that quality video inspection? How can we get that done fast? And it's usually because of communication. And what this program can help us with is drive that communication so everybody in the dealer knows where that car is. Our goal is to get cars in and out, parts and labor all together within that 1 to 2 day period, right? That's the goal. And you can't get authorizations. You can't get all that stuff without a program to monitor it. It is a huge deal.
Shon Kingrey.
You know, the one thing this tool brings, and communication's key. It's all about communication. We talked about it earlier in an earlier panel. It's silos. This tool breaks down the silos. It's, service has had the car for 8 days, or pictures has had it for 4 days. It removes that unknown, and it tells you where your breakdown of communication is.
Brad, over to you.
You know, that's the piece of it. I mean, Marco said it uses the DMS to try to track reconditioning. It's so much more than that, right? You do the mechanical piece, and most dealerships can do that okay. It gets lost beyond that. So then you're dealing with vendors, you're dealing with every person that touches it. Like you said, the accounting, the parts, the body shop, the vendors. It's the one piece of the dealership that gets lost, and people kind of just give up after a while. How many years have you had the problem, right? Since you've been in the industry, since you start, right?
And Brad, you saw this years ago because you are the architect who put all this together with ReconTRAC.
I spent 25 years in retail, and the reason this exists today is because I failed at my job for 25 years, right? I couldn't do it. No matter what I tried to do, there was no solution out there that was automated, that allowed the car to go from stage to stage through seamless communication, because you're trying to connect everybody together. And my solution, other solutions, they just need to be able to connect it all together. And if you don't, you're going to consistently have lost cars. And these things are, holding cost. Where are you at on holding costs? What's a car cost you a day?
It's huge. And what's huge about that part of it is, I take it a step further. We talk about 3 days on the lot. At day 5, we cut the bill in half. And when I say cut the bill in half, I cut the labor, I cut the tech time in half. It's amazing how quick you want to see a car go through the system. Make it hurt in the pocketbook a little bit.
It's funny. You say 3 days, right?
Yes.
There's not a dealer that we've hooked up to yet that said 3 days, and it actually was 3 days.
Right.
It's typically 6, and if you say you're 6, it's typically 12. It's those cars that get lost that if you don't have a tool that tells you which car you need to focus on, it's a vicious circle of lost revenue from holding costs.
So Marco, let me come over to you. How do we fix I keep hearing the word communication. How do we fix that communication gap at the retail level, from the technician's perspective? And I'll ask everybody on the panel the same question.
I think that just like with anything else we use in the dealership, that if everybody actually does what they're supposed to, like say a multi-point inspection, whether it's DMS, if you just flag your cars appropriately where you're at, real simple, you sit at your computer anyways, point, click, done. No matter what it is, point, click, done. Is the car on hold for parts? Are we waiting for an okay? Is it at the window shop? If everybody does that, including the technicians, stop being lazy, because at the end, it just comes around and bites you in the butt. That's a given. Every time it happens, it's a boomerang. Stop throwing those boomerangs and just start hitting the right buttons. Everyone in the dealership. That's it.
When you look at the holdup when it comes to the repair side, is everybody says, I got it dialed in. You are exactly right. If you're 2, you're actually 4. If you're 4, you're actually 8. What really boils down is that, 1, the speed to write up the repair order. Now we're tracking from the date of purchase to the RO written. Next is, how fast can we get that inspection done? And here's the most important piece, authorized by the used car manager, or whoever's authorizing it, with pictures and video. Here's the deal. We want to be transparent. Have a way to show the transparency. And then after that, then bang, how fast can we get that car done? And goes off to all the cosmetics that need to be done. The key issue is driving the speed, which helps Marco's rich and tired every day. Rich and tired, my friend. You said from the RO, right? I'm gonna add another piece of this that we find consistently. We're seeing on average between 1 and 3 days on average that people own the vehicles before that RO is even written. So you need to be tracking every aspect of that car from the time you acquire it to the time that car is on the front line and ready for sale, because you'll pick up just a couple of days if you're looking at that piece alone. And when you say that, is that what happens to a used car manager? They go out there and look at it and say, look at the car I bought. Oh, it's so pretty. And the next day they look at it again. And then they give it to the service department. Give it to us the day they buy it. Yep.
Shon, Kingrey?
You know what? It's the key word that's key to everything in the dealership from all to all. It's accountability. The Recon tools are all about accountability. Everybody has to do their job when it comes from the used car manager to the service manager to the service writer to the technician to the touch-up paint, everything else. You can't miss any steps. And if you hold people accountable, it will work.
The only way you're going to hold them accountable is to track it.
That is correct.
You have to have a tool, whether it's my tool, whether it's in it. You have to track every piece of the puzzle so you know where to focus your time.
That is correct.
Correct.
Sarah, here we are seeing tracking and measurement as another important facet in our dealerships, and I know you're very familiar with that on the retail side as well.
Data is so important, and the processes that go into the data are so important. And this is a really great solution to help you figure out where some of those holes can develop in the process and how to go about fixing them when you do have things that you need to address.
And Brad, I'll give you the last word on this. We've seen in the last 18 months to 24 months such an importance on those used vehicles as the market continues to fluctuate. Is reconditioning going to remain at the forefront, at the top? Because there's such a focus on it right now that I've never seen before.
You know, there's I don't have a crystal ball, but it's always been important since the Model T, right? I mean, it's been a consistent process, consistent problem. I think the focus that you're seeing now is there's analytics to show you why it's so important. Before it was this, this made up number, and now you're able to put tools in place that can show you exactly the profit that you're losing each and every day from the holding cost and the loss of production. And so, to fix it, you got to first and foremost decide you have a problem. And that's what people don't do today. They think they have a problem. You have to decide you have a problem. You have to put a stake in the ground and say, today is the day we're going to make an effort. And the accountability piece comes in after that. And then it's just leadership, right? I mean, technology doesn't fix anything. It's good leadership. And this tool or any tool that you back and support and implement and then monitor makes a big change. Sure does.
Everybody, Brad Schafer from ReconTRAC here with us today at the pop-up at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Don't go away. We have a lot more ahead at the event. Our revolutionary pop-up events have sparked a new wave of growth and innovation.
Become part of the brand that is shaping retail fixed operations at fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
Hi, I'm Greg Euland, and today I get to sit down with Chris Little, the Vice President of Variable Operations at Hendrick Automotive Group. Chris, thanks so much for sitting down and talking.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Greg. Thanks a lot.
Chris, we've had quite a partnership over the years, and we're very proud to be able to continue to expand that partnership through our reconditioning software called ReconTRAC. How did you come to the conclusion that using software to automate a lot of this was the right answer? How did you get there?
I got really tired of hearing people tell me when I say, how long does it take to get cars to the front line? And they go about 5 or 6 days. That tells me I don't know. And, that means 10 days, really. If you put it, and then we would do trials where we just put a grease pencil on the window, the date it was taken in, the time it was taken in, and that stayed on that car until it was brought to the used car manager and fully done. And it was astounding that, some of these were 7, 8, 9 days. And we're thinking, industry, our best, what we want to be is 3 days or less. That's our goal at Hendrick Automotive Group, to be there.
What led you to ReconTRAC specifically? Why did you decide to go that route versus another?
100% decision was the integration. We think it's a valuable tool to have everything talk as one. And if we can do that, then that will define where the leaks come from, and nobody can hide behind that stuff. So that really helped us make our decision as being 100% integrated.
To kind of put a bow on this, if a dealership were to come to you and they said, we're thinking about installing this product called ReconTRAC. We have a little bit of an issue in recon and we want to speed it up. What's your advice? What's your perspective?
I really think you got to be able to measure it to manage it. And that's what the tool really will help you. So if you're really going to get serious about, and you really want to increase your gross profit, I would say that you ought to buy a ReconTRAC software to be able to come in and help you manage this process. Once it gets put in and the processes are set, it kind of manages itself. Everybody knows what they got to do, and I'll promise you'll get really good results out of it.
Chris Little, Vice President of Variable Operations at Hendrick Automotive Group, thank you very much for your perspective and for taking the time to talk today.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Thanks again for everything y'all do to help us get better.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you later.
Please welcome one of the great leaders of retail, Ziad Hasasneh, with his perspective on the used vehicle market.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Ziad Hasasneh is one of the most respected automotive retail people in the industry. He's located in Western New York. He spent the past 32 years in automotive retail. I know him personally. He's a great friend, a great mentor to many in the industry. We're honored to have him. Ziad, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. I'm honored to be here with you on the panel today. I appreciate you having me.
You are, I mean when I say that, not only a great mentor, but a great teacher to a lot of folks in retail. And that's really hard to come by these days, with the talent, a lot of younger people getting in the industry, a lot of us older people, right? Getting out, at some point. But your teachings have really gone a long way and are very well respected. And you also know the pre-owned, that used vehicle market very well. So Ziad, great honor to have you. And full disclosure, you and I worked together, 20, maybe 25 years ago, right?
20 plus years for sure. Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So I want to get your insights today because here we are in mid-September. A lot of things happening in our industry on the retail side. First, on the used car side, reconditioning has become a big part of the roundtable. We have a lot of people who watch, a lot of dealer people who watch, a lot of reconditioning managers, used car managers, and it's a fast changing market. We've had a lot of folks talking on here on things that have been affecting it. So I want to talk to you about the quality of reconditioning first today, Ziad. The quality of reconditioning used cars. How does that affect customers' loyalty in your mind?
Yes, thank you for asking. Well, when customers come to your dealership, obviously they're walking in and they're looking to find people that will give them the best return on the investment or on the money, hard-earned money that they're looking to invest with you. So our obligation as a retail group is to make sure we give the quality return for their investments. It is important that we build a trust with the customer and show them what their money is going to be getting for them. It is important that we don't cut on the quality of the reconditioning. So give the car what it needs in terms of reconditioning items. For example, if the tires are questionable, brakes or anything else, just make sure you basically go ahead and invest the money into it. Because, when customers do take delivery, it's the vehicle that they're going to be driving it daily. They're going to be showing it off to their neighbors, friends, feeling good and comfortable and safe driving it. So the last thing you want to be doing is receiving a phone call from a customer saying, I feel I got cheated out of something. So when a customer feels they got cheated or taken advantage of, naturally the loyalty return will drop on that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense, of course. And there's been so much focus now on reconditioning, especially the last maybe 2.5 years or so, with the values of used vehicles, how that really changed, let's say in 2021, 2022, the value of vehicles, and now dealerships looking in their own service department, to have customers trade out of those vehicles. I'm one of them. I went into my dealership and they did an evaluation and appraisal of my vehicle, and it was worth almost $10,000 more than it had been worth 6 months earlier. And I'm one of the ones who traded out. So the speed to get that vehicle to market is really important, isn't it?
Correct. And customers, when they feel they got that quality car, obviously the first thing they're going to be doing about is bragging about the vehicle. I didn't have any issues with my car. Well, I bought it from so and so. So naturally they start, spreading the word, and then you'll end up with a lot more referrals as well. Not only the customer itself being loyal, but you're going to get the benefit of the word of mouth as well.
Let me talk to you about pricing used vehicles. That's really in your wheelhouse. That's really in your domain. Can you give us any best practices or a best practice when pricing used vehicles?
Yes, so we do scan the market and see where everybody else has their vehicles, and we also look at the scarcity of the vehicle itself. Our goal is always to try to be within 98% to 102 max. Of course, it all depends on the make and model, and how easy it is to replace, of course. I always say you cannot fall in love with a vehicle. It's something you have to remind yourself that you stocked it in to basically stock it out, to put in someone else's driveway. So you can't fall too much in love with the car and think it's going to be a diamond sitting here appreciating. So So it's important that you monitor the market constantly, price it within 98% to 102%, and again, keep an eye on the day market supply so that you can adjust accordingly.
You know, there are a lot of folks in the industry, but again, you've got deep experience in that used vehicle side. And what do you foresee for the market? What does it look like now and here in September? I know it's hard to have a crystal ball, but looking out over the rest of the year, what are some of the things that you're looking for or to be careful of? Maybe is a better way to explain that.
I think what we are being careful with is over paying for the used, as we are seeing the values plummeting. So we want to be more proactive than reactive, but we also have to walk that fine line where we cannot be too conservative on the values offered to customers and then lose their business in selling them something else. So it's a fine line that we have to walk. But we have to be prepared for the adjustment of the market. Values right now in terms of retail could be reflecting old values or old appraisals. So as we continue on, we're going to be seeing those numbers coming down. So we have to make sure we are proactive, but we are seeing it adjusting as the new car market supply has become easier to get.
You know, fascinating, you know, looking at that and looking at what your peers are doing. Isn't it amazing? In a lot of dealerships, we'll go to the auction and we'll pay all the money and then some for the vehicle. But when the car is on our service drive with one of our customers, one owner, family owned, you know, sometimes we're not quite as eager to pay all the money. What is that? Why is that thinking? And I don't think that's necessarily the right thinking.
I think what happens to a lot of car guys is that they feel they have control. So the customers in your service department at your own house, you don't feel the anxiousness of having to get the car. Unlike when you go attend a live auction, you are attending that auction because you feel you need inventory. So you have that fear of returning to the store empty-handed. So you end up stretching yourself.
Okay, that's very well put. That's very well said. Now, where you are there in Western New York, which is where I met you, okay, many years ago, we worked together. You've got a unique vantage point, okay, in overseeing, you know, you see used vehicles on multiple lots, okay, in multiple markets, but they're still in a fairly small radius. Does that give you an advantage there in that market? Because it's different than in what most dealerships have anywhere else in the country.
So the best advantage, I would say, as my own personal belief, was always the reconditioning part of it. Again, we go back to the reconditioning.
Yeah.
And the reason being, when you have a customer at your store, that's what kind of separates you from the competition, to show them the value of what you have invested into the vehicle. Because if you take two vehicles, not two used vehicles are equally the same. They're all based on the condition and the reconditioning. So if you come to me and I show you what I have done to make sure the car does not give you any headaches or issues down the road, you're more likely to trust me, and you're more likely to move forward with and making us your choice, obviously. So I don't feel, as I continue to be 100% on with making sure we're giving the quality of product we're selling, I don't feel threatened by the rest of the people surrounding us in our area.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the sales process now. And again, you're an expert in that. And I want to ask you today, here we are, September of 2023. What do you feel customers look for when they walk into a dealership and they interact with a sales representative? And how do you get them to choose to do business with you?
So funny, as I always stated, customers shop for a sales professional. They're not necessarily shopping for a vehicle. They in the beginning think I'm in the market for a certain brand or a certain product. But as they are looking for that product, they are also looking for the sales rep that they feel they can trust. And it is critical that we don't focus on the price from the get-go. Our job is to serve the customer as they walk into our dealership and make them feel at home and bring their anxiety level down. So it starts by trust. If you gain the customer's trust, the anxiety level goes down and the value of what you're selling naturally goes up. On the other hand, if the trust goes down, the anxiety level goes up and the value plummets for sure. So it is critical that we help customers make a choice, not try to sell them something, be a guide, be help more than anything. So interesting, sometimes I engage with my clients and my team often, and the one thing I tell customers, and they like when they hear it, is, hey, we don't really sell cars, we help people buy them. So once they get that sense, it brings their confidence in you and their anxiety down, and they'll listen. And once they start listening, that's when it's your moment to shine.
Our industry's changed in the last several years because everybody now, you and I included, are walking around with one of these in our hands. And you remember the days, Ziad, when we called a customer an internet customer? And and today, everybody's an internet customer. So considering now that we have these new tools, these unique tools, the customer has the ability to fact check us, right? And to make a lot of, and start the process in many cases before they even get there online. I know I do. You know, how do you view that, and how do you make all that sync and work together?
So customers don't want to necessarily get in, like our days, back in the days, people shop from one lot to another. They shop for cars, they shop for salespeople, and they shop for prices. Right now, the job is somewhat easier than it used to be because customers know who we are before they even come in. So they don't have to come in to see who we are. So what they do is, obviously, they go online, they check out who the company is and who the person is, and look at your reviews personally and the dealership and find out who they're going to be dealing with. In fact, we have had customers that would call and ask for a certain individual based on that person's reviews. So people do narrow down their search ahead of the game because they don't want to invest too much time into it. So to your point, the phones and internet can help them do that. So it is our commitment to make sure basically we don't talk them out of it when they reach out to us. They're reaching out to make sure they would feel invited. They would feel we are the place they are thinking to choose. And now we can either fail them and let them know we are not the ones and turn them away, or assure them, yes, your choice is the correct one, and allow them to come in.
Last question for today. A lot of folks are watching here today, a lot of young managers, new managers in the business who came up, you know, and what a great industry. We have a career path in this industry. You can start at the bottom and work your way up to a manager and work your way up to the dealer and beyond, right? A lot of people don't know that. But if a young manager is watching today, one of the things that I like about you is that you've always been able to get your team to follow you and to do what's asked of them. How does a young manager command that respect in 2023 going into 2024?
It starts by serving his people and his customers. So don't tell, don't ask, just do it with your team. One of my biggest things in my career was always to engage with my team and customers. It's easy to sit in an office behind closed doors and give orders and not know if those orders are being delivered, versus going out with your sales team, greeting your customers, making them feel at home, and let the customer feel the management engagement and the team work together. When sales or when managers, if you start doing that more often, not only you hear it directly from the customers, but you're also supporting your sales rep, and the customers feel that once they feel you're a team doing it together, they also become more comfortable, They don't feel there's boundaries and closed doors. They feel there's definitely open communications, and it will make it easier for sales reps. When a sales rep feels that his manager is giving him full support, they start sensing the leadership. They feel they can trust their manager, and they know it's an open door. And they also start inviting their managers to talk to their customers if they need to, because they know you're capable. And that is a big, big important part. And then you become more comfortable. You start doing it together. It becomes more fun, and your eyes never go off the prize.
Yeah, and you're working together as a team. And lastly, I want to congratulate you. I know your daughter just graduated college. She's about the same age as my daughter. They were born about the same time, and your daughter has embarked on.
When we work together.
That's right. And now your daughter, a college graduate, has embarked on a new career selling vehicles in Western New York. And I hear she's doing fantastic, Ziad.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
A chip off the old block.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Ted.
Everybody, if you want to reach out to Ziad Hasasneh, he's one of the great minds in automotive retail. He's making big, big strides in what's happening in retail. His email address is on the screen. Is that your phone number as well, the 716 number, Z?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
You can reach out to Z as well there. Call or text him. I know he texts. Ziad, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, we're very grateful to have you here today.
Ted, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And for the audience, any questions, text or call, I'm more than happy to help.
Ziad Hasasneh, everybody, one of the great retail automotive people here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
The customers today, their expectations, I think, are centered around all the technology. Everything is at your fingertips. More people are accustomed to seeing kiosks, accustomed to using those types of devices. I think customers expect that now in the service lane.
With all the technology there is now, customers come in and they just want to be in and out, and they don't want to stand around in line. The GoMoto kiosk, it's definitely helped with the morning rush. It's helped us eliminate the line that we used to have. The customer now comes in and they're welcomed by one of our greeters. The greeter now goes to the kiosk with the customer, they check in, and then they're on their way.
Before GoMoto, the backups in the service lane were due to not being able to get to the customer in a timely manner.
There's times where menus are passed over, where the advisor forgets to tell them, hey, it needs its major service. And now with the GoMoto, customers are presented with a maintenance package every time.
The time freed up from not having the customer sitting in front of them every single time they come in, it helps them be more efficient. It helps them focus more on the customer's concern and the maintenance and service of the vehicle. Before GoMoto, we would average approximately $130,000 in service gross. The kiosk and the service drive doubled the gross profit in the dealership. It's amazing, 100%. Using the GoMoto kiosk makes the dealership more profitable.
FORTSTOCK is all about challenging the status quo, and so is our next panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. This panel is a fan favorite. It is focusing on challenging the status quo with Michael Moore and Daryl Terrell. And of course, in our hearts today, and in our prayers, Shon Butler and Shon Butler's family as well. Michael and Daryl, I know you're very close to Shon, and Michael, I'll start with you. It's been a tough couple months for him, and seeing what he's been going through.
Yeah, absolutely, man. When you used to a person being a certain way and seeing them a certain way, and then like when tragedy hits them, it definitely affects everything. But the thing about Shon is like I always say, he would always come when we worked together. He'd come and he'd talk, I'm trying to work. He's done his work. I'm still working. He's talking, and I'll be like, man, listen, I gotta go. I gotta work. And even to this day, when I get him on the phone, it's the same thing. Even with what he's going through, he's still the same Shon, which is to me is a great thing. It shows the strength and the resiliency, of who he is and his character. That going through what he's going through, that he can still remain the exact same. So,
Yeah.
big up to Shon, but he definitely remains in my prayers, and he'll fight her. So I'm not too worried.
Daryl, he is a great fighter, and I don't think cancer knows what it's up against with Shon.
Yes, Shon is a great fighter. If you could probably define him, that would probably be the word, a fighter.
Yep.
This guy right here, man, even with going through what he's going through, you would never know it, talking to him on the phone. So like when it comes to strength, man, like this guy, man, he's like a true testament of that, and he's gonna get through it, man. He got a whole team behind him. He got a lot of people praying for him. And I'm confident he's gonna get through it, man. We're all confident he's gonna get through it and come on top of this.
Well, the three of you gentlemen are known for challenging the status quo, and I'm glad you kept the topic today the same, because it's been very well received. And so Shon is here in spirit, and we're thinking of him and praying for him, of course. Let me just start off by asking both of you gentlemen, here we are in mid-September, looking out to the balance of the year. What are your main focuses for business for the balance of 2023, and then looking out into the early part of next year? And in no particular order. So
okay, so for me, it's basically just growing the team. Here at Nissan Abood, we have experienced a great amount of growth over this past year. So just continuing that growth, continuing to make sure that the people are taken care of and trained, and that the customers and the clients, when they come in, that we can take care of them in the timely fashion and correctly. That's pretty much my focus, just growing.
yeah, you're doing a fantastic job, Michael. Compliments to you and all the hard work. It's paying off. Daryl?
Also out here at Matt Ballard Chip and Metairie, we're looking to continue to grow and build our customer database. It comes to a point, where you have a staff, you have a team, and you think you're good. And now, like, with the increase in customers, right, you got to find a way to support the new customers coming in the door. You don't want to turn any customers away. So now you challenge yourself and your team to grow and be able to support new oncoming customers. And that's one of the toughest things to do, is to actually look at yourself and self-reflect and look at your team and point out your flaws. But it's a must do process. You got to hold yourself accountable and really look at yourself. And that's the only way to grow, is by looking at yourself and fixing the issues. If it's staffing, if it's training, just digging down to the root cause of the issue or root cause and finding a way to get better and support more customers ultimately.
Yep.
And I think it comes back to both of you gentlemen and Shon, okay, that you're great at challenging the status quo, okay? And there is a status quo. There's no question about it. You wouldn't be where you are today without challenging it. Daryl, talk to me about that. And what gives you the strength to do it? Because when you do that, okay, you meet resistance. I always like to say no resistance, no sale. But you've opened up a lot of eyes to people who didn't initially see it one way, and now you got them to look at it a different way.
Well, the way I handle it, nothing comes easy in life, and I know that. And if something's easy, then you're not working hard enough for it. It's not, to me. I know that the level I want my team to perform on, it's not an average level. I know it's not a level that an average person will want to perform on, and I have big goals for our department. So it's a constant push within me where I feel like I'm missing something if we're not pushing past the boundaries. I feel stagnant with the team if we're not pushing past the boundaries. And when we achieve or we hit a boundary, it's not enough. I know Michael Moore could probably relate to me. It's not enough. Like, you hit that boundary, and then and then you set a new goal, a new boundary. We did 1,000 customers this month, CP customers. Let's shoot for 1,100 next month. And just building that and growing. You got to share that vision with your team, and you got to make sure your team's fully honed in with the same vision you have. And it's not easy by any means at all. It's constant. It's a constant, challenge within yourself of staying positive, because it's times when people get negative, but you got to pick your team up and you got to be a leader out there. You got to direct it, and then once the vision comes into light, that's where the magic happens. That's where everybody believe and everybody see it, and then it's time for a new goal after that. Then now it's time for a new challenge. But that's pretty much Darryl in a nutshell. Constantly looking to challenge myself, Michael Moore, Sean Butler. A lot of us we push each other, and we have we constantly communicate with each other in a group texts, and we always check in with each other, and it's all about getting to the next level, and just sharing that with other people.
Yep.
Michael, you're a great leader. I have sat back and just enjoyed listening to you. A lot of the things that you say, because they're Michael, it's so common sense the way you look at the business. Talk to us about challenging the status quo.
Well, for me, is the first thing is to self-reflect. Sort of what Darryl was saying. The best way I can put it is I had a meeting with a couple of my guys, my lane manager and my service manager, and we were coming off a record month. All-time store high. We were #1 in DC Metro and a lot of different metrics for Nissan and stuff like that. And when I to me, I looked at those guys. I said, "Hey, man, at the end of the day, the baby is still ugly." I mean, it's flat out because the goals that I set was not hit. And it wasn't that so much that I set them, but when I set them, everybody else realized, hey, these goals are attainable. So even though we'd accomplished a lot, it wasn't what we wanted. And we sat in with a young lady that was from Nissan, and it was going over all of our stuff on my phone. And he was pointing out how great we did, and some of the things that we could improve on. And she commented, "Hey, that was great." And I looked at it, I said, "Well," because she compared us to the district. And I said, "Well, I really don't care about this district." And she was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "The district." I said, "We were beating the district my second, third month here." I was like, "That's not what we aim. We aim to be #1 in the entire country." And I was like, and until we're there, then we're just grinding, and just the baby is still ugly. There's a lot for us to fix. And at first she took it as me being arrogant, and then once we spoke, and then she realized, no, it was that we know how great we can be. We set those goals. We surround ourselves. And I surround myself with great people, and they realize too, that's what's achievable. So that's what we're going to try to do, not just be satisfied with where we are, what we were and where we've gotten to this point. So I think that's the biggest thing when you're challenging the status quo. It starts with challenging yourself first, and just taking complete ownership and complete responsibility for every single thing that's happening. I had a lady complained about something with the coffee, how we had our coffee set up. I don't drink coffee, but when I talked to her, I took complete responsibility and control of the situation, and and that type of attitude spreads, and then it spreads to the team. So when I look at them and be like, hey, we can be #1. Next thing you know, a couple of days later, I hear those guys almost regurgitating the same language. Hey, we can be #1, comparing us to other dealerships around here. We're not even thinking about that. I'm looking at Darryl's group. He got Burrow in his group. Mike Barrett's old place. I'm aiming for that. Not for the dealer right there in the street. So we have to, when you challenge that status quo, you just make sure you're challenging yourself as well.
The three of us. The four of us, including Sean Butler,
absolutely
have made a career out of the automotive industry. Okay, we've all come in. We all started at the bottom, worked our way up to various positions where we are today. looking out at the industry, how do we encourage younger people to make a career out of automotive? Because I don't think a lot of people are aware of all the opportunities there are in our industry. I know how you came up through the industry, Daryl. You came through the technician, came in through that way and worked your way up. But how do we encourage younger people to get involved, even if it's on a different level, but to make it, to show them that there's a career path, if you will, here in automotive?
What I like to do in my area, just going out to, grocery shopping or going out to a restaurant, I always look and I analyze and I watch to see who has, great skill sets to be in the industry. And so I know, I don't want to sound crazy, but I know that I have the ability to change somebody's life for the good. And I take pride in that. And so if I see somebody that's, might not be where they want to be, I'll give them a business card. I'll recruit them. I'll bring them on to my team and train them up. And my goal is to change their life. That's my mindset, is for me to be able to, make an impact on them, their family. And that's how I build my team. This industry is a right now industry. So you got to have a lot of patience, especially when it comes to training new people. It's very little room for any kind of error. So when training somebody, you got to have a lot of patience, and they gotta believe that you have their back. I'm not saying have their back where they could do whatever they want and get away with it. What I mean is that you have their back, that you're willing to teach them and push them to the next level. I love recruiting and helping people out, and that's just something I got in me, is building people up and showing them a healthy, great career in the automotive industry.
Michael, your thoughts on encouraging younger people to come into our industry?
Well, I think the biggest thing is educating them on what it is and how far you can go. The best example I can give is I talked to a group of high school students at a more underprivileged DC, in the DC area, underprivileged high school, real tough school. I went in there, and this was about maybe 7 months ago. And I talked to them, and I went over and I just described to them, hey, I'm from the same environment you guys are. Some of the same things I was looking at, some of the young men and ladies in the classroom, some of the same things I can see in their face that they were dealing with, I was dealing with it at the same age. So at the end of the day, it was showing them that, hey, the news and society teach you certain avenues to be successful. College, sports, a lot of different things. So when I look at them and say, hey, man, I'm 5'6", I had a nice jump shot, but not good enough to make no money with it. And I was kind of quick, but not quick enough to get on the football field and be able to survive. So how do guys like me that I went to college and didn't like it after 2 years? So how do people like myself, how do we become successful? And then when I start going through and telling them, hey, this is how much money you can make as a technician. This is how much money that my service advisors make. They couldn't grasp the concept of an advisor making 6 figures. And I'm telling them, hey, at the time I had 4 that was making 6 figures, and the other 2 was right below it. They couldn't grasp that concept. So when I started talking to them about these things and telling them, hey, I moved my mom I put my mom in a better situation when I was younger, a lot younger, just by being able to fix a car, and being able to diagnose cars. That's basically what it came down to. I help a lot of my family members out at the time because I know how to fix cars. So when they realized that, and I started talking about the amount of money they could make, the longevity of the career, and to me, the natural and a lot of the instincts and the natural abilities that they have is really what they needed to be successful, then it was super impactful. So I think that the main thing is just educating people, because out of that group, I got 2 of them hired at other dealers, and I'm waiting on one to come here. But one of the young ladies that was in the room that worked at the school, her husband was actually teach the class. So they came in here. She drives a Nissan Altima. They came in here and he tells her, he said, hey, you might remember Mike. He was at he was at the school. He was talking to the kids. And he, and she was like, oh yeah, that's the one that had me ready to quit my job and come down there and work. I didn't realize y'all, you can make this amount of money and it could be an actual career. I just took it as, the average person doesn't realize being a service advisor is an actual career. They're just not being an order taker and just, writing up a ticket and putting the car in the back. That's a career. That's a skill set that they have. A technician is bigger than it used to be just, rebuilding carburetors and just getting dirty. You got guys making a lot of money and being in basically being in that trade for 20, 30 years. So they don't realize that you can be a comptroller, you can be, business office. I mean, all these different jobs that dealerships need to function and to be successful. They didn't realize just how much these jobs are just careers. They're not just jobs. So it's just, to me, it's just educating people. And like Daryl said, when you see people out with natural ability, man, Chick-fil-A hate me. I'd say back in Richmond, man, where I'm from, that Chick-fil-A by my old dealer, they hate me because I ended up getting 2 or 3 of their people. So it's just really just like he said, changing people's lives and really educating them and opening their eyes to really what's in front of them and challenging that status quo. It's just us putting ourselves in the position to get in front of them and getting in front of audiences and the people that you don't think may, be able to help or come in and help you. But go to those schools that may have a tech program that might not be in the best neighborhood. You're going to get some of your best technicians and a lot of admin people out of those areas and those positions because they're gonna have a fight and a grit that most kids their age just don't have. And that's what I respect. I respect that grit. I respect that fight. They have something that they're working for that's bigger than just changing oil on the car. So just challenge the status quo and just really educate people and educate everybody about the industry and really just how great it is, really.
I like that. I have one last question, but it's a big question, and it's for all the managers, your peers who are watching you today. And I'd like you both to answer it, okay? So as you look at the business today, it's often asked, how do you get your team to follow you and do what's asked of them? And I know that's in both of your wheelhouses and in Shon Butler's as well. So
absolutely, Shon, great.
In closing today, Daryl, I want to come to you first and then Michael to bring it home. How do you get your team to do what's asked of them and to follow you?
Well, first off, you gotta create that winning culture from the beginning, where you gotta set your expectations. You gotta. I'm a person personally. I like to lead from the front. So I like whenever it's whenever you win, you talk about the wins. But also, I like whenever you lose, I'm not the type of guy to hide somewhere. Like I'm up front and I want to know why we lost. And so I believe that a lot of success comes from learning from your losses. And so, whenever we're falling short somewhere, it's always an opportunity to grow and get better from it. And that's just my philosophy. A loss, and when I say a loss, to me might necessarily mean something bad. It's just not performing to the level that I'm expected or I want my team to perform to. So it's always just stand out front. It's no blame. You take full accountability for your team's performance. It's up to you. You're the manager. You're in control of the ship. It's not anybody on that team. So just taking full accountability for the results of your department, and just willing that department to win. And that's my philosophy right there.
Michael, bring it home.
For me, it's real simple concepts. The main one being that extreme ownership, really. And I give people the opportunity to take ownership of what they're doing and how they're doing it in a certain ways. I give them processes, and yes, they have to do things a certain way, but I lead from a point of servitude Like I tell them, my title is nothing. I'm here to make sure that they're successful. So I want them to take ownership. But they see that when things have gone awry or it's not great, that I'm always in front taking that bullet, man. Now, if the team didn't perform, if we fail to meet a goal, then no, it's on me. You know, I didn't coach them well enough. I didn't teach it well enough, and I didn't put a process in place that was good enough to get it done. And at that point, then we figure it out. I fix it, and then I allow them to take it and run. You know, but when we winning, you don't hear from me. You don't say. I don't say much. You know, I let those guys take all of the you know, the glory and the credit, because they put in a lot of hard work. I recognize them for that hard work because they have to be a part of it. You know, the positions that we are in, a lot of guys fail to realize that the serving part is what it is. Because as great as a technician as I was, yeah, that's me fixing that car. That's all me. But in this position that me and Daryl are in, man, we're only as good as our team. You know, so it's about taking extreme ownership. I mean, that's my philosophy. I'm a Jocko fan, but at the end of the day, that's basically where it is. Like you take ownership of what's happening, from something that's big, something that's small. You allow your team to actually have input, take ownership of things, and just that in itself, man. You never have to ask them to follow you, you know, because they know it's not about them following you. That basically you running with them, and we running together, and we're going to do this together, and that's what it is.
Michael Moore and Daryl Terrell, challenging the status quo. Two great leaders. Third great leader, our friend Shon Butler.
Absolutely.
Thoughts and our prayers, and Shon's family as well. So, Michael and Daryl, I want to thank you today for your time at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted.
Everybody,
Big up, Shon.
Daryl Terrell, Michael Moore, and Shon Butler here today.
Big up, Shon.
Shon Butler.
The Fixed Ops Roundtable is excited to announce the launch of our new certified program. It is designed to recognize dealerships and partners that demonstrate exceptional performance. Learn more by visiting fixedopsroundtablecertified.com.
We're over the moon for our next segment, filmed live at our Orlando pop-up event. It's Owen Moon of Fixed Ops Digital.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. We are excited to be speaking with Owen Moon, one of the certified partners with Fixed Ops Digital.
Owen, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great event.
And congratulations to you and Fixed Ops Digital for all you do in our industry and on becoming a certified partner at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you. We're excited to be here and excited to be a part of that.
And one more congratulations on your relationship in the company with Kaiser Automotive Group here with Shon Kingrey as well.
Yeah, you know, I've known Shon obviously for a few years, and lucky enough now to be able to partner with them and help them with some of their online service marketing initiatives, and had a really good chance to meet some of Shon's team through this process. So super excited. We're kind of just kicking things off, but a lot of big things to come for the Kaiser Automotive Group. So
Owen, I know that you are a student of this business, and speaking of marketing, what would you say over the last 10 years has been some of the biggest changes that you're seeing as fixed operations continues to evolve at the dealership level?
It's a great question. I think one of the biggest changes that I'm seeing is the evolution from customer retention and loyalty to more online initiatives, right? As more and more people are using smartphones and going online to find information, get educated, look for recommendations about different
maybe different services that they need for their vehicles, they're turning to the internet, they're turning to the dealership's website. And so we have to become more of a resource for that. And so that's a big change that I think that a lot of dealerships maybe haven't been prepared for, and are now seeing that it's becoming more important than ever.
Shon, from your perspective?
So, and again, my relationship with Owen's gone back 5 or 6 years now when I was back in Florida. And the online presence, it's amazing with the websites you would go to where we got called out, and that's what Owen helped us with, is to make sure that your website coupons match what your OEM's putting out on your own website. You would literally have 2 different offers on the same website and not even realize it.
Yeah. Owen, your company does a great job in that fixed op space. You are the leader. You're really the only one in that space because you actually do fixed operations where other companies say they do, but you do that. Over the next 10 years, Owen, as you look forward into your crystal ball, what do you think is the biggest threat for dealerships' fixed operations?
That's a kind of a loaded question. I think there's a lot of threats. I mean, I think it's not just one, but I think if I'm a dealership, right, looking at the 10-year idea, the 10-year roadmap, I'm thinking your people. People is becoming everything. And part of the process of working with Shon and his new group, I really saw how Shon championed his people and really brought them in as part of the solution and part of the answer for what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that gives that gives your employees, that gives your team ownership in what you're doing, and really holds them accountable for the results. But yeah, people are going to be a big part of. It's always a big part, right? But even more so, I think we've seen some of the struggles in the last few years of the dealerships that didn't have a good team of people around them and what they're able to accomplish. So I think people's going to be the big thing. Obviously, embracing technology. There's a lot going on with the OEMs and EVs, and I think that's going to be a whole nother realm. But I think there's a lot of different things that dealerships are going to have to really focus on.
Shon, from your perspective?
So, and how Owen got back into the Kaiser Group, it's kind of a real quick story. Is I was up at my Green Bay store, and my old Chrysler rep from a previous lifetime 20 years ago is now in charge of marketing for Chrysler. And him and I are on the phone together, and he's, quite frankly, handing me my lunch about how bad our online marketing was. And he goes, I'm going to recommend somebody. And I said, well, if you say Owen Moon, I'm going to laugh. And he goes, well, you know Owen? I said, I happen to know Owen. So I called my dealer principal, and he goes, oh, you're talking about Fixed Ops Digital? Because he had met with them. They just weren't at that point a couple of years ago. And so what we did was Owen and I talked, and then we signed the contracts and we moved forward, is having 3 major OEM lines as far as between 8 stores, is I took my leaders from the Chrysler store, a leader from the Ford store, a leader from the Chevy stores, and instead of competing with each other, because I don't want a different price at one store to a different store, they take the lead, and all my Chevy stores are the same, and all my Chrysler stores are the same, and all my Ford stores are the same.
Wow. Moving forward, fixed operations, digital marketing, that's here to stay, Shon.
It's not going anywhere. I mean, people are looking online. People know when they come to buy a car online already. It's no different on the fixed operations side. And to your point, that's what Owen brings to the table. You're right, a lot of people talk like they do it. But again, how do you have different coupons on the same website? Owen focuses on it's what his people do. And, I'm not here just to plug Owen, and Owen's a phone call away. And I can tell you, I've texted Owen at 11 o'clock at night, and he's never not responded.
Well, and we're evolving it. It's not just about your coupons and putting pricing out there, but it's also about the experience that you're providing to the customer. So, we have some really great integrations with our platform with repair financing companies. We've been talking with, different companies about other ways that we can help integrate into that environment, because when it comes down to it, it's one customer that's trying to do a lot of different things, right? Maybe they're looking for a service that they want to get done. Maybe they're looking for a recall, and they want to make sure that their car doesn't have a recall. So do you have some way to check for recalls on your website? And maybe even looking at like trade appraisal. I mean, from that point on, what's a great way, Shon, you know this, what's a great way to get that used car into your dealership? It's to, get it through the service lane. Right. So trying to become more integrated throughout the entire process, as opposed to just saying, hey, here's some coupons, let's get them on the website. That's really our mission. And we feel like, we're nowhere where we want to be, but we're in a really good spot, and we just keep plugging forward and helping stores. So,
Sarah, isn't it amazing how this digital space continues to evolve and grow? And really, that's all part of the entire ecosystem at the dealership.
It definitely is. And Owen is spot on with how this entire experience is a cohesive experience. Really having your marketing for all of your stores, as Shon mentioned, on point across your brands. That's all going to be key to the customer's perception of if they want to do business with you.
Anyway, congratulations to both Shon Kingrey and Owen Moon on working together with the organizations. Fixed Ops Digital on becoming a certified partner for the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Owen, we look forward to a lot more of these with you and to expanding the fixed ops space.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Everybody, Owen Moon, Fixed Ops Digital, the premier agency for fixed ops, and Shon Kingrey with us here today at the third pop-up event at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Stay with us, we have a whole lot more coming up.
We are Fixed Ops Digital, automotive's premier service marketing and technology company, and creators of the industry's first and only website service experience platform, Spark. We offer fully compliant fixed operations pages and coupon designs unique to every OEM. Our Why Service Here website page and video highlight what makes your dealership unique: certified technicians, OEM parts, online service scheduling, and complimentary amenities. Complete the online service funnel and bring customers to your scheduler with service conversion pages. Each offer on your menu page links to a page specifically designed to educate the consumer while increasing appointment conversion rates. Repair financing integrations for Sunbit and Dignify, so your customers can see as low as payment options directly on the offers. When customers save an offer to their mobile device, a prompt to enter their contact information appears, turning them into a service department lead. Bring in customers who need recall service and collect vehicle data. We've created a recall lookup through license plate numbers. No VIN necessary. With Spark, your service offers can automatically post to your Google Business profile. Our social ads are dynamic, so your ad prices automatically update with your offer menu pages. Dynamic ads mean more consistency across channels for clearer messaging. Spark has over a year's worth of industry-leading GA4 data. Fixed Ops Digital is a founding member of the Automotive Standards Council for GA4 events, and we're dedicated to helping give dealerships a deeper understanding of their website's customer engagement. Data-driven offers management means more service conversions, the lifeblood of what we do. Ready to increase your dealership's service conversions? Connect your fixed operations departments to Spark, the industry's first and only website service experience platform.
Let's show the world that Fixed Ops is far out. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable FORTSTOCK event.
We are taking a step out of the past and into the future with the go-to parts girl, Kaylee Felio, on the PartsEdge panel as they discuss the future of AI and parts.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Kaylee Felio is with us. She is the Sales and Marketing Manager at PartsEdge, a huge part of our industry. Kaylee, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
You've got a great topic. We've been talking about it in the green room, and you've got the A-list here with you today. So fascinating discussion. I'm going to let you get right into it, and I'll see you back on the other side.
Thank you. All right, are we ready for this?
We are.
Yes, ma'am. We're talking about AI and fixed ops. This is going to be good. I think everyone knows who you guys are, but quickly, let's go around the room. Just do a quick intro, where you're at, who you're with.
All right, Shon Kingrey, Vice President of Fixed Operations for the Kaiser Automotive Group.
Mike Weldon, Fixed Operations Director for the Hansel Auto Group in Northern California.
Ed Roberts, Chief Operating Officer for Bozard Ford Lincoln down here in sunny, hot Florida.
And I'm Nick Gianake, Parts Manager, Ken Garford, Greeley, Colorado.
Cool. So we're all spread out, and I'm in Arizona. So I think it might be hotter for me, Ed. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah. So first, I want to start with defining AI and what is the definition of it. And I pulled it up to read what the internet says AI is. And it basically is a human intelligence processed by machines, especially computer systems. Specific applications of AI include expert systems, natural language process, speech recognition, and machine vision. That's a lot of information. Does anyone like make that in simple terms. So let's go around based on what I just read to you guys. What is your perception of AI? And we'll start with John.
I think AI is probably the future. I think that Mike, myself, and Ed and Tully, we've all done enough panels, and Nick, I'm not excluding you on, but we've done on the service side of it, that we all want and need an AI solution. Tully, I think, coined the phrase, AI doesn't call in sick, and it doesn't call in sick. And for your definition, what is AI? Call the airline. That's what AI is. You don't deal with a person generally. You deal with an automated computer system. And we need that. We want that. I think we're all looking for the end solution of that. I don't know that that's there yet. And we were talking before we started the session. I think there's different levels of AI. Ted mentioned there's a warranty side to it. There's a lot of different levels to it. On our side, on the service side, the main side of it, I think we're looking for a solution that the client accepts, can use, and that's user friendly.
That makes sense. Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Well, taking off what Shon had kind of alluded to, AI is a support mechanism to aid us in the additional needs to effectively communicate with our guests. We've done some analysis on phones, in which I think we all understand that phones are essential to our business, and we've determined that we're not very effective at it, as many people as we have. And in addition to that, the ability to get enough people to work the phones is very difficult at best at times. So you have to look at these solutions as something that you can integrate within your system that effectively communicates with the guests to get the necessary information exchanged. And it's a wave of the future. It's happening now, but it's definitely something that's going to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's been here for a while. I feel like we're just now kind of adopting it a lot more. Ed, what about you?
So historically, over as long as I've been in the business, and I'm sure it's a lot longer than that, there's always these elements that fills the voids of what we've done a poor job at. And we've done a poor job at training our personnel over the years. And ultimately, when we bring AI into it, we program it and it's there forever. It doesn't have to recollect. It doesn't have to reflect back. It doesn't have to think about it. It's there instantaneously. And then if we need to change something, it's easy. You just reprogram it to what that is. So it pulls all of our thoughts together and it does all those things instantly. So we're able to respond to a customer instantly, because the reason we need to respond to a customer that way, and Mike just touched on it a bit, is we're not good on phones, is we haven't trained our people to be as good as they could be on phones. And this is the training curve shortens immensely to bring AI up to speed. And then we get out of it what we program in. And if we're not getting out what we want, we still have an opportunity to make it different.
I have questions, but I'm so excited to get into this. Nick, what about you?
I believe, like the other panel group is, that we're behind the bus on it a little bit. We need to catch up and evolve on the part side. We're definitely, it starts with service, but the communication with our clients, it stems, we could easily use it in the parts field to get a hold of our customers and acknowledge when special order parts have arrived, and to help them schedule appointments a little bit more seamlessly than a live person, having to transfer weight.
Yeah. And I think there's more to it than just the communication with our customers, which we'll get into that piece as far as the automation and the kind of the data side of it. But my first question was, actually, I had an experience with this. And so we can talk about, because this is a challenge. Of course, I still went to the dealership, but I got a text to go to, is a reminder, your truck needs serviced. So I replied back, yeah, actually, I was thinking about this because it was on my mind, but I declined some service. What were those services that I declined? And it replied back with, you need to call. And I didn't want to call because you texted me first. Why can't you just text me the information? So I think that's where the challenges are. And that's what Ed was talking about with the process of kind of making sure we tell it, or whatever we want to call it, how to communicate back, or how it all connects. And I don't know if it's out there yet. It's just, so that's for you guys to talk about. Shon, what about you?
Well, I think it's what we started with. I think we all want that. I don't think it's quite there yet. I think we've all tried it and stuck our big toe in the water, and some of us got bit a little harder than others. I mean, Nick and I in the past worked with a company where we tried it in 20 stores, and quite frankly, it didn't work out well because it wasn't functional at the time. But again, I think the key is, and to Ed's point, we all want it. We all need it. We really want it to work. And if there was an AI solution, a one-stop shop right now that would do, to Nick's point, an SOP phone call, because that's, Nick, that's something that I didn't think about. That'd be awesome, that it automated the call. But Kaylee, to your point, that's where I'm thinking the challenge is. It reached out to you, told you that you declined the service, but it doesn't know what you declined. So is that almost like a guy calling a CSI client saying, hey, I'm sorry you're upset, but I don't have the power to fix it? It's kind of the same thing. You open the door, but you don't have an answer once you open it.
Yeah, and not to mention when I did call after a few days, because the dealership actually never called me, I still couldn't get the answer of what I declined. Of course, I should probably know, but I don't remember. It was several months ago, and I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life. So, but that was one of the things I was like, why can't anyone tell me? And then I think when I finally got a hold of someone, they said they were going to email me the information, because I think I'm going to call myself a millennial, but I think a lot of people want this to read the information. We want to see, what are you telling me that my truck needs, so that I can make a decision on, yes, I need that. I mean, of course I need it, but I want to make that decision.
So that highlights an opportunity there, because, and that's what we look for. And it's not just in our industry. So I'm not just beating up the guys here. It's across the board. We look for solutions that's plug and play. And there's really not a whole lot of solutions that's plug and play. And when we run into those obstacles, that's an opportunity. So there's an opportunity there, because when you says, what are the services that I was recommending but didn't do, it says you need to call. Well, that's an opportunity to put that in a format to where AI can pick that up and not only hit you with that when you ask for it, but also to retarget you along the way, so because it knows there's a need there. And so we have opportunity to train it, and we have to pick up those elements that you just talked about and run with that opportunity, because that's how we can progress AI to get to where we want it to be, to where John or Shon can jump in with both feet and not get bit.
Yeah. I think that's the important thing to know, is we can train it to adjust. It's not just plug and play, just like any solution, right? We can't just plug and play things. We have to proactively review and work on them to be better. So I want to make sure I get Mike's perspective and Nick's perspective before we move on to a couple other questions I have.
Well, we're in the midst of vetting several different vendors, and I will tell you that I've always been one to take something apart and put it back together. And I'm trying to develop so it works within our environment, or at least my environment, that works effectively and doesn't offend people. Because you'll notice we have different age groups that we're dealing with. So you have to develop this tool that works seamlessly with just about everybody. It's not going to be a perfect fit, but it will benefit us if we do it right. And that's the problem. And Ed pointed out, we just put these things in place and think it's going to fix the world, and it doesn't fix the world. And you just have to be smarter, and then just be willing to divest into it and support the vendor, and then build it the way it should be. Mm-hmm. And tell them that this doesn't work.
They need our support and our experience in the dealership every day to make it better. So, yeah. And Nick, what about you?
I mean, again, come back to it. We're so far behind technology-wise for us that, we are evolving it and we're making it changes. But the more that we put ourselves into it, the less likely we are to get results. For parts side of it, it's all technology based that we're already dealing with in some things. But, we need to have those quotations that are blended in where they know what truck you have, and they know what parts are supposed to be there. And we can get deeper and deeper into that to where, it does the quotes for you. But, it's going to take us to put our knowledge into it to where it quotes correctly.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the important thing to note with AI is I think everyone assumes it has all the answers, and it's us asking the questions. It's how we communicate to pull that information and how it all works together. because I know when I've used ChatGPT, and I know there's other solutions, I'm just referencing ChatGPT because that's what I have experience with. I get better results with the questions I ask and how I communicate with it. I keep calling it, I want to name it. But I want to go into how to overcome the disappointment, because that's something that we talked about is we've implemented something and it's just when it doesn't work. How do we overcome that as an industry as a whole? Now, when people mention AI, we're kind of like, I don't know, I tried it didn't work. So
I think you got to start with listening to the feedback, you know, and then pivot.
And that's part of change. That's part of change management. We go into something, and there is time we need to pull back. And this, because the way it was represented, it was let's jump all in. And there is elements where it can still help us right out of the gate, but we got stung a bit, and so we pulled back some. But that's what we're traditionally accustomed to do, where we try something, it doesn't work. All right, well, I've been there, done that. That didn't work. Not doing that again. And here, this is totally different than any of that. And what we're really saying is I hadn't found a way for it to work yet. It can still work for us, and it will work for us. We just have to mold it around how we need it to work and continue to enhance it. Think about the short time that you've used. Let's call ChatGPT your assistant, Kaylee. Just think about the short time that you've used your assistant. It is different today than it was the first time you used it. And that's because it's improved over time. And that's what we can do with AI, is we can allow it to improve over time.
yeah, absolutely. I want to get into the parts side of this. Like, I want to get deep into the automation, because I think there's a lot, because we talked about the communication side of AI, but I think there's a lot with AI in regards to data and predictions and making better decisions, and how that can help us be better in our parts departments. So I don't know what my question is exactly, but I want to see if you guys have anything like that, or what your perspective is on that side of the equation. We'll start with Nick.
Great. Looking at on the part side of it, again, we have the algorithm set for us to do stock orders and preemptive sales and everything, but we don't have what it does. It doesn't, suggest. It does its suggestions as normal, is what we're used to on a daily basis, but it doesn't link into the stuff that comes in through service and everything else. So I believe something with AI needs to blend in with the vehicles that are coming into the shop, our customers that are coming in, to what we have in stock and what it tells us what we should be stocking.
Mm-hmm. So like your actual market demand of the data that you guys are tracking and what's coming in, and then making better decisions on what you should be stocking to essentially be more proactive in your inventory.
I believe it's more like on an appointment base. Whenever it has an appointment come in, it should be able to tell what we have and what we don't have, and it should pop up what we should be bringing in for that customer or stock.
So from an AI standpoint, from my standpoint, very similar to what Nick is saying there, it can help us with the phase in and phase out stuff. And our DMSs traditionally has only used our sell rate, whether it's declined, whether it's increasing, and it'll make suggestions or recommendations that we need to bring this part in. Well, where AI can come in and enhance that is if we're seeing something on a certain vehicle, it knows how many is in our customer base. So it can say, based on our sell rate the last 3 weeks and what's in our customer base, this is the number you should stock of this. So it's more intelligent to help us with phase in and phase out and enhance the suggestion that the DMS has given us.
Yeah, I think taking it to another level, I think you can also tell you where you can go out and outsource it. If you don't have it in inventory, it automatically knows that, hey, I need to go out and find this component. And then it comes back to you and says it's available here, here, and here, and here. And it'll shorten the amount of time that your staff has to get on the phone and try to dial up.
Talking about efficiency, that's key right there.
It is huge. It is huge.
Yeah.
Kaylee, you talked about buy-in earlier. I love a system that if a client had an appointment for recall 1, 2, 3, that it would be smart enough to know to go to look into Nick's inventory, know if you have it. If you don't have it, make sure you have it. If you can't get it, that it notifies the advisors, the BDC, and everybody along the chain, including the client, but long beforehand, and remove the human element. To Ed's point in his first segment, it's only as smart as we program it, guys. I mean, and again, I'm a guy I have 3 Chrysler stores here. You look at Y Advisor, where it's at. We're at level 3. It started way over here, and now we're here. They don't do a lot of things right. That's one thing they do very well. And Ed's right. It's only as good as you program it, though.
Yep.
And you asked if Nick has the part. Nick does have the part. I see it behind him back there.
Right.
Are you in the back corner somewhere?
Oh yeah, I'm back in the key room. I moved my office to where I could be more up in with the team. So this was we changed it around a little bit. So
become a front line.
Yep, I'm on the front line now.
Yes.
Good. I had a question. I'm blaming it on the pregnancy. This is how my interviews have been going.
You have something good to blame it on.
That's right. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I think it was about efficiency and how the automation piece of it for parts managers. What is your perspective? Because I've talked about this a lot. I think that the higher ups tend to think that it's the parts manager's job to do a lot of these things that we're talking about, but in a way, we need some of these solutions for automation so that we can do better. Just like service advisor sees more of an AI solution to communicate with customers. It's the same thing for parts managers. What is your guys' perspective on automation? Why are we scared of it? I think is my question.
Change.
Easy word. It's change. It's human nature. We're all scared of change. And I know I'm not trying to again jump on Ed's shirt tails here. Ed, you got to welcome the change. You have to absorb the change. You have to teach the change and manage the change. Again, we all say if you're not willing to change, don't be in the car business. But it's got to change. And again, back to the original point, we did stick our toe in the water. We did get bit a little bit, but that doesn't mean you can't go forward. Because as I said originally, AI is coming, whether you want it to or not. We have to build a better AI. It's just that simple.
You have to embrace it, invest in it, and develop it. And it's going to take everybody to give a little piece of input to make this thing work effectively.
Yeah, you got to include everybody on the fixed ops side for sure. Because if you just take one person's perspective of it or their ideas and not anybody else, you can't evolve. It's just it's not right. I believe that in the automation part of it, I think it takes the pencil whipping out of the stock orders. It takes all of those things that we all used to do in the day, and it makes it seamless. As I talked before, the parts manager's job needs to be more efficient to where he can be more of a leader for his team to help them grow and sell parts. AI could help that person, help me take the hardness or the time consumption of doing a stock order, doing returns, preemptive sales, and help you become, again, a better leader. Because ultimately that's what we got to do for our team is we got to be there to help them grow and make more money, to make the store more money, to be a great people.
Be more
And so
efficient.
another element that I would add on, and I'm agreeing with a lot of stuff here, the suggestive selling, all that stuff, is we look for efficiencies across the board, but we're afraid to let go of certain elements. And as we stated there a minute ago, a lot of dealers feel like it's the parts manager's job to. Well, with technology, yes, 30 years ago, it was his job to make sure that happened. But today's time with technology, it's his responsibility to make sure it happened.
Yep.
Things can happen automatically, and he's responsible to make sure it happens. He still needs to have his fingers in it, but he doesn't have to manually do it. And that's where it brings into efficiency, where now I got to inspect it, make sure it's correct, rather than source all the information, put it together, send it, and then go back and validate it, make sure everything was right. So it can create efficiencies, but we got to open ourselves up to be acceptant to something else helping us, and then take on the responsibility of verifying that it's correct.
Right.
Yeah, that's the important piece, I think, is accepting it, but also continuously working to improve and make it better. Just like we said, it's not like anything we can just plug and forget about. It's like we have to constantly be improving and making adjustments because our business is changing all the time. So absolutely. So there was something I did think about too, because there's so many different solutions for AI that fit into all the different puzzle pieces of fixed ops. And one I think that comes to mind is the I'm not going to shout out the name, but they watch techs work basically, and our AI watches them work and can identify bottlenecks within the process. And I think there's an opportunity, I don't know if they've created it, to also suggest parts in that work too, because I think AI has that knowledge to be able to say, you know, this type of job needs these parts, to really help parts people identify the parts that are needed. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I'll work it backwards a little bit. We went a different way initially. I think you're spot on to improve efficiencies in our process. We just put it in all of our stores in our parts trucks. So we're going to consolidate our routes, and we're going to put it into a network, and we're going to determine which is the best route to take, when to deliver parts, the timeliness of parts, and then make our drivers more efficient and give our customers a better service. So, you know, we're on the cusp of that, but I mean, that's where this technology is taking us. And so if you look at those efficiencies and then you take it back in-house to your suggestion, Kaylee, that, you know, we can assist our staff to be more efficient in their process.
There it is. Having something, one of the key thing to removing bottlenecks is identifying the bottlenecks, and anything that can identify it, I am all about it. And let's circle back to something I think Nick said a minute ago about suggestive selling. Think about the efficiency of what that does to us. We all are working on vehicles that some of the components are one-time use, but we get focused on the component that's causing the problem. That's what we sell the customer. That's what we order from the parts department. And if AI could suggest, hey, these are components typically sold with us, what we've done is we prevented the technician from going back and forth to the parts counter again, or the runner, whichever it may be. And we've also prevented either the ticket getting discounted to make those parts fit, or from the advisor calling the customer back and saying, hey, we need these things in addition to. So when all those things come together, the efficiency comes into place. And when the efficiency comes into place, with that same number of phone calls, we're selling another job rather than the same job.
Correct. And that's where AI is the future. That is the future of AI, obviously, Ed. It is. You got to takes the human element out of it. And to, again, suggestive selling, you write up a repair order and you kind of know they can go to the parts counter. They already know that these are the parts that are going to be pulled. It's less dead time on the back parts counter. I know, Ed, you've got runners and such, but again, it's all about efficiency. It's all about making money.
Yeah, and you still need the runners. It's just being more efficient, and it's kind of bridging that training gap where you can actually hire people that may not have as much of the parts knowledge that no one really has. And it can make, you know, suggestions on, you know, showing them these are the common parts that are ordered with that component or something like that, because not everyone knows that. That's something that's learned over time.
Right.
Nick, do you have anything to add?
I agree with you on the fact, you know, but the technology's there, but we still need the experience that can come off with those one-offs and the hard to find stuff that is, you know, is my experience. So, you know, everybody has the newbies and everything else, the new technology kids, the kids that are tech savvy, you know, that's what they want. And hopefully one day we'll get there. But, you know, we're always going to have the old man in the corner, per se, that's been with the manufacturer for a bit, to where he can pull out the old stuff that's not been around.
Yeah.
You know, and go from there.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone is actually really saying we're going to replace, I don't think this is going to replace humans at all.
The people on this panel may think that it's not going to replace humans, and we may know that. But the people actually doing the job is protecting their job, and they're trying to tell you all the reasons why it's not going to work, because they're trying to protect their job, because they feel like it is going to replace them. That's our job, to go out and express that to them.
You hear that in the media today.
You do. It's funny. Go out to your advisors and talk to them about kiosks that check customers in. What's every advisor's first response? You replace it.
Yep.
Every time. We've always experienced it.
I was talking to a journalist when ChatGPT first became big, and his fear was that's going to take my job from me.
Yes.
Is it really? No.
Is it? No, I don't know. It's gonna make you do your job better and more efficient of everything that we've talked about.
Yeah, the human element will always be around, I think, because of people that the clients aren't robots, they're human. So they're going to have, they're going to want to also speak to somebody as well. We just need AI to assist us to be more efficient and getting stuff done quicker and, getting them back out on the road where they want to be instead of waiting for procurement.
Well, it's good for information exchange. I mean, we've done that effectively with the advent of social media and the computer and things of that nature. This is just another phase of that, I think. It just takes you to another level.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk to Siri. We ask Siri questions. It's
all the time.
It's the same thing. Well, thank you, everyone. I think this is a great conversation. And I'm going to pull Ted back in. Hey, Ted.
Kaylee, fascinating discussion. Ed, wow, a lot of information was shared here. I like it.
Yes, absolutely. Took tons of notes.
Yeah, tons of notes. And I have a feeling, Kaylee, this is not the last time we're going to be talking about this subject. So I want to thank Shon Kingrey, Mike Weldon, Nick, how do I say your last name again?
Last name, Gianake.
Gianake, okay? I always mix it up.
That's all right.
Ed Roberts, and Kaylee Felio, the go-to parts girl from PartsEdge. Fascinating discussion. Kaylee, if our audience wants to reach out to you at PartsEdge, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can call me. My number is on the ticker below. Go to our website, PartsEdge.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. Reach out. I'm happy to talk.
All right. Great discussion, everybody. Kaylee Felio from PartsEdge with the A-list panel here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Obsessed with creating the perfect inventory? Us too. PartsEdge gives you the tools you need to outpace the competition and provide the highest level of service to your customers. PartsEdge is a powerful tool for parts managers to get the job done faster. Imagine what it was like when the impact wrench arrived. It made mechanics 3 times faster. Getting the job done without the latest technology makes it difficult to keep up. Besides all the other responsibilities you have, you work hard to have all the right parts you need when you need them. PartsEdge was designed by parts people for parts people to make that job a lot easier. PartsEdge saves you 4 to 6 hours every week and can increase your sales by 10 to 20% in just 12 months. Not bad for your bottom line. Take your obsession to perfection with PartsEdge. Call us today to find out what PartsEdge can do for you.
Take a moment now to stop your records and pull out your phone to scan the QR code on your screen to vote for the Best Practice Awards that will be announced at the end of the event. Remember, every vote counts, so be sure to vote for the 5 speakers or panelists whom you think are the best and grooviest speakers at the Fixed Ops Roundtable FORTSTOCK event. Remember, you only get to vote once. Our next speaker is out of sight. Please welcome Alyson Landis from Inkcentric.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Alyson Landis from Inkcentric is with us. She's the marketing and procurement specialist and the CEO and does so much for the Fixed Ops Roundtable and our dealers. Alyson, welcome back to the event.
Ted, thank you so much for having me, and hello to everybody. Loving the new theme, of course.
I love the earrings. I love the headband. So did Tully get you started on that or what?
He did. You know, it's really hard to compete with him and to be as cool as he is, but I tried.
You know, somebody actually just texted me this morning and said, "Do you have any pictures of Tully, with the headband on?" So I got to send those out. So,
oh, that would be a good one. We should now make Tully headbands. That should be the next one.
well, by the way, thank you for the updated Tully buttons. They've been fantastic. If you haven't seen, we've been using them at all of the pop-ups that we do around the country. In fact, we've had everybody wearing these pop-ups, these Tully buttons. So there you see the buttons on Ed Roberts and Sarah, myself, and Tully, and that's been a big hit. So thank you. And by the way, these banners that you see, that beautiful New York City skyline, that was all done, Alyson, by your crew, and you shipped it out there. It was easy to put together and assemble. So thank you for all the things you've been doing for the pop-ups as well.
Oh, thank you, Ted, for having us do it. The graphics were beautiful on that last one. And as you know, we switched to the tension fabric instead for a little bit of a different look. The way it came over, the hardware was different. And I'm glad it worked out and looked beautiful the whole time.
And it was such an honor when Sarah Vantine presented Bob Tasca with the Certified Dealer Award. And what a unique design you put together for that. Great job, Alyson.
Thank you, Ted. We've had a lot of fun with them, with you, and using pictures of the dealership so people can see the actual place where everybody is. And the 4-color process on these awards just makes them shine and be truly beautiful.
And now, Bob, a lot of people don't know Bob, and you know it. Bob Tasca had a special request on this one. The picture that we originally had didn't quite show the Ford entrance with the Ford logo, and he wanted that to be prominent. So you made sure that all that happened.
Absolutely.
All right. So tell us, what do you have on the go for this fall at Inkcentric? I know you're working with a lot of dealers. You work with Galpin and many others.
Absolutely. Galpin Update Promise is a great client as well. We've got lots of stuff happening. Focusing again this last quarter on direct mail. It is a great way to reach your audience. This is a piece we actually just finished for Galpin. So Galpin is focusing on their Mazda service. We took full advantage of the real estate on a 9x12 envelope by Open ASAP here. We also added in your first service is due. So the way this one worked is we have a list of customers that need to bring their cars in for their first service. So what we did was create an actual letter with variable data. So your first name would be here. The year, make, and model of your car is in this first sentence. Bring your car in and you get a $25 gasoline card to come in to service your car there. These are very, very successful. This was a great campaign for them. And now we're doing a follow-up as well. So it'll be a follow-up letter to these people. And then we'll start the campaign again to get more and more people into their service department.
Show us that again. I like that $25 gasoline card.
Yes. Isn't that cool? Galpin is so generous. I mean, and it's just loyal, generous. And of course, they put all of their brands down here as well. We also go the extra mile and stick stamps on these instead of an indicia. Galpin likes to feel that they're hand stamped. It's just more of a personal touch for them. And they've done this since we started working with them almost 23 years ago now. So yes.
So Alyson, you do the mail part too. You actually send them out.
Yes, we send them out. We actually take the data, clean it. We throw it through a system called NCOA, which is National Change of Address. So anybody that's moved, it'll be caught during that process. What we then do actually is we correct the data. We keep the database here. And when returns come to us, we log them in and remove them from the list. So you end up with a clean data list. They can be really messy. As you know, people come into dealerships and spew off information just to get on the list. And so instead we're like, listen, let's clean it up. Let's make sure we're using your money wisely and go from there. Another cool part is we mailed, I believe, 750 of these the last time. As long as there's more than 500, we can give a pre-sorted rate, which is great. As you know, first class postage is 66 cents right now, but we can drop that down into the mid 50s, even low 50s, as long as we can pre-sort the list for you. So there's definitely benefits to going with a mailing house, which is what we are as well.
Alyson, you really know this automotive space.
Thank you. Thank you. I try.
Yeah, and that's a great idea, with all the electronic communication, to still get that piece in the mail, and it's all one piece contained within itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Emails are fabulous ways to market. We know this, but the open rate on a piece of mail is that much higher than it is on an email. Our boxes are inundated, with different emails here and there, and it really has to be eye-catching. Taking advantage of the real estate, like we talked about before, really makes this an eye-opener. Truly.
Okay, so you could do this for a dealer, and you've got the templates and you've got what you need there.
100% yes. All I would need is a conversation. We can have logos go back and forth. We come up with a great creation, really wanting to know what the end goal is. More customers, more service. We can choose the list. We can even purchase mailing list for dealerships as well. Very open.
Okay. And Galpin, as you said, they give you the actual list and then you make sure it's cleansed. So,
it really depends with Galpin. Sometimes we purchase lists for them, but in this situation, yes, this list actually came from Mazda to them. So they were working on a deal with that. They sent the list to us. We still cleaned it as well. Just if our name's on it, we want to make sure that everything is clean up to our standards, and went from there.
and sometimes dealers get co-op money from OEMs, so they could take advantage of that too. So
very much so, and we're happy to help with co-op, whether it's invoices needed back and forth. We deal with co-op with Galpin right now, so definitely there and organized to help with that.
Okay. I love that for fixed operations for service. So everybody, if you have a campaign coming up or you're thinking about a campaign, have a conversation with Alyson Landis. She knows the space real well. What else you got going on there, Alyson?
One other really fun product I'd like to show is we do all the printing for Marathon Trucking Company. This is silly, but fun all the same. So obviously it's in a truck shape. These are mints, and then on top are toothpicks. What they do is when they're servicing other trucks or servicing their trucks, they leave one of these behind for their customers. These can be less than $1 a piece, depending on what your quantity is, but the ROI is fabulous. This company has people calling them saying, any chance I can get one of those mint trucks? I really loved it, and mine is empty. So it's just a great way to keep promoting, keep your name out there. And this slips into a pocket, super, super thin, or a purse. And again, they will keep it around and have your name available when needed.
Trade show season is upon us, and there's a lot of shows coming up in the next 5 or 6 months. You do a lot of stuff for dealers and companies involved in this space. I know you mentioned Update Promise also.
We absolutely do. One other quick product. This doesn't look like much as it's here, but talking about trade shows, turns right into a bag. We just finished these for Lionsgate, and it's a big bag, tons of space inside of here. And again, folds down into that little pouch, which is great because you're not carrying a bunch of bags around. This is really compact and easy and has been one of our top sellers.
And you can't just get bags anywhere these days like we did years and years ago.
Exactly. There's a charge for everything now.
I know. Yes. All right. So great stuff.
Yes.
So on the trade show front, you help dealers with all kinds of things. I would imagine soon, it's mid-September, you're going to be showing me the new calendar soon. Probably at the next event for Galpin. So
Galpin calendar time is coming up. Absolutely. They're actually working on a secret, but maybe not so secret coffee table book as well. As I'm sure you know, Mr. Bert Bachman passed away. Very sad. Rest in peace. It's helping to bring this book to life. So this will be a fabulous book with tons and tons of information, gorgeous full color photos of all of their beautiful cars. So the last part of this year is gearing up to be very busy, and we're excited. We're here for it. Let's bring in the last part of the year. Love it.
a lot of people are going to want that book. Bert Bachman, a staple in the community at Galpin for so long. I remember Bo being on the show and telling us the stories. And I remember coming to Galpin early in the morning and seeing Bert seeing him out from outside the dealership, looking in, seeing him upstairs in the office there early working before everybody else got in.
Every single day that man was in the office. One of my favorite stories is, as you know, his wife was Jane Bachman, rest in peace as well. They had a little rascal. It was one of those automated kind of scooter motorcycle things. And she would sit in front as he would ride her, and she would sit side saddle because, she's a true lady that way. But they would cruise around the dealership and everybody would see them and just wave, and they would wave to everybody. I mean, truly a love story right there. That was just really, really neat, and icons in the automotive world.
Yeah,
they will be missed.
Yep, America's #1 automotive family, but they've left a great legacy, and and a great dealer group, and hoping that we get a chance maybe to see that sometime in the near future and take a trip back out there. So.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you for supporting Alyson, the pop-up events, and great service from Inkcentric, everybody. All the banners, all the stuff that you see at the pop-up events, the awards we showed you earlier. These banners behind Sarah Vantine and Bob Taska at BG. These are all Alyson Inkcentric banners that she put together, and thank you for working closely with us and making sure everything arrives there, and updating us on where things are with logistics. So
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Ted. I love being your printer. Working with you is amazing. And now I have to apologize for the late Sunday calls when it comes to the tracking. As you know, we've been texting each other at all different times. Oh, it's coming. Okay, it's almost there. Okay, it'll be there. Now it's there. So
you have nothing to apologize. Anybody who works with me knows that they're going to get Sunday texts and calls.
Exactly. I love it. Thank you, Ted, for everything. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Everybody, reach out to Alyson Landis. She is the CEO at Inkcentric. She is the marketing and procurement specialist. She knows how to get things done. Your email, Alyson, is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. She's on LinkedIn. She's on Facebook. Easy to find. She's got great videos. You'll see usually several times a week. Keep them up, Alyson. Keep showing us the stuff you're working on. And everybody, reach out to Alyson. She knows the retail auto industry and works with a lot of our dealers and with a lot of our partners. So everybody, Alyson Landis from Inkcentric here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted.
Let's take a look back at our pop-up event in Orlando for an epic interview with Marco, Ted, and Sarah.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings and the most famous technician, Marco. Marco, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. It's great to be here. Thank you, Ted, for having me. This has been it's been quite a ride, hasn't it?
It has, and I think the thanks is due to you as well for all the work that you've done on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But, I think it was a good conglomeration between you and I getting this started, talked over. You kicked me, I prodded you, and here we are.
So Sarah and I want to ask you some questions today from your experience as being a technician in today's market. What is that like, and how does that continue to evolve?
Faster and faster every year. It seems like the technology is just, as you all know from your cell phones, your computers, your internet providers, your TVs, your kitchen gadgets, everything just is evolving at such a high speed that, and in your vehicle, they try to put everything in there together with the car itself.
Yeah.
So it's challenging. It's very challenging at times, but it's rewarding, and you never have a boring day. Never a boring day.
I know we've learned so much from you at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, Marco. What are some of the things that are near and dear to your heart? I know Tully talks about, technicians and hours and going home. I've heard this phrase, rich and tired.
Right.
What are some of the things that are near and dear to you?
One of the things that's really near and dear to me is the overall, dare I say, the public opinion and view of the technician. For the longest time, we've been seen as the dirty bunch, uneducated, replaceable, and just now the industry is starting to catch up that, oh, wait a minute, they're actually one of the most educated, experienced, and trained people that we have under our roofs here. They're not easily replaceable, and we are worth our weight in gold. So we're not thieves, we're not dirty, we're not uneducated. we're pretty close to rocket scientists, but we don't take it up in the air. At least that's the plan, to not go up in the air. Another thing that's near and dear to my heart is the fostering and growing of technicians that eventually will take my place in the dealerships to repair, diagnose these vehicles, and keep us all safe on the road. Because let's face it, if every technician would do their job to a T every day, the only time you see a fire truck is in the Christmas parade.
What's ahead? A lot of things happen in our industry. We have EVs, that are coming. Who knows how big that will be in terms of market share?
Right.
What are you seeing? What are some of the challenges, at this point?
I think that one of the biggest challenges is just new. Everything is new technology, new ways of diagnosing. The first thing that everybody does as a human being, like, oh, here's something new. Oh, I don't want it. But as long as things are moving, rolling, braking, stopping, turning, there's always something to repair. You just have to find the next piece in the repair and diagnosis part of it. And as long as you keep trucking along with that, embrace the technology instead of resenting it. Learn it. Look at the younger crowd that are like our children, for example, that can do things with our phones that I never knew were possible. Learn from them instead of having this chip on your shoulder like, I have done this for so many years, I know, but no, you really don't. You knew better. In today's environment, with the help of the younger generation, we can build upon that and keep growing.
Sarah, we're so grateful to Marco for raising the awareness of the technician for these last couple of years. I've never seen it as important as today.
It is so critical to an organization. And Marco, kudos to you for bringing such a great spotlight on the profession that oftentimes doesn't get the spotlight.
Right. We get the spotlight when things go wrong, usually. But it's been a wild ride. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And just being able to sit here as a technician, I think before the roundtable, if a technician was going to be like walking into a conference like this, they'd be like, no one wants to listen to me. No one. So the voice that this has given me and help other technicians, and not just help technicians, but help management, dealerships, vendors to understand the technician's point of view. Because let's face it, like Tully says, no hours, no money. I want to go home rich and tired, which means you go home rich and tired, which means the general manager goes home rich and tired, which means the service advisor goes home rich and tired, which means that vendors keep growing, we keep going, rich and tired. It's all about the hours.
Everybody stay with us. We're with Marco Zwanenburg here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We're at the third pop-up event. A lot more coming up just ahead.
Do you want an encore? Put your hands together for Dean Ciccarelli and his interview with Ted Ings.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. One of the great names in retail is with us now, Dean Ciccarelli, a good friend of the Fixed Ops and the retail community. Dean, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, thank you so much for having me here today. As I look back over the decades of my career, I see a huge disparity between the technology companies and the automotive industry in terms of, where we're at today. And the purpose of my being here today is not only to help other dealerships around the country and groups, but to share my working knowledge base of being involved in millions of transactions and hiring people and closing deals and everything else I've done over the last 40 years.
All right. Now, full disclosure for the audience. I know Gene Ciccarelli. I've known this man for about 40 years. Dean and I worked together early in our careers in retail. We worked in New Jersey together. And Dean, you were always the closer and you were the consummate professional. And, if someone needed help going in on a deal, you saw a way to get the deal done. You looked for ways to put the deal on paper, and you started off in the front end. And I know you ended up running many of the most successful dealerships and dealer groups around the country. So I want to kind of pick your brain today, because I think that, we are both in a very unique spot in our careers. And I'm greatly appreciative of your time today. Dean, let's talk a little bit about that, if it's okay. How do you want to help the industry, at this point?
So what you have in the industry right now in the leadership ranks are Generation X people. These are the people at the top of their career that have made their bones working long hours, giving up family time just to help out, the team. And they truly are, the DNA of the industry today at the top of the leadership. But the unfortunate part about that is that they have no idea how to connect with the millennials and Generation Z. And they're all, having issues with not only just retaining employees, but also advancing them and recruiting new ones and continuing that pattern of growing new leadership in their organizations. So you see great disparity between the technology industry like Apple, Google, even Tesla, right? They figured it out. When you walk into one of their workspaces, they serve comfort foods. They have games, it's a big open area where all workstations are connected. And they offer people remote work. They offer them work-life balance. And in the car business, we're known for just wearing people to the bone.
Dean, I don't recall anyone talking to me in my career about having a work-life balance. Dean, we worked every day. We worked 6 days a week. We worked 12 hours a day, more than 12 hours a day. Dean, it's changed. And there are dealerships now, that we've had on here that are going to things like you say, like a 4-day work week, right? Not just for technicians, but store wide and implementing all these things. Dean, I never thought I'd see the age of this happening.
Well, you got to think about it, right? Some of your best salespeople today don't even work in the showroom. They use social media as a platform to get their customer base to come in and pay all the money for vehicles. And then they use the same platform to generate new business. So the advertising medium of being on TV, radio, newspaper, obviously that doesn't work anymore with the social media platforms. Your best technicians may want to come in after 5 o'clock on a Tuesday to Thursday to figure out how to fix that problem vehicle when they have isolation, quietness, where they can access the tools. They don't have to stand in line at the parts counter to get what they need. So we're in a different age, and we've got to bring the industry up to that standard of where the technology companies are. And that's the whole purpose of my next 40 years in this industry, is to create that bridge, to lift dealers to where they need to be, to give the dealership world what it needs in talent acquisition, retention, training programs. I mean, think about it. When you go in to be hired for a car dealership, they offer you health insurance. Well, the Generation Z and millennials, they'd rather have pet insurance than they would health insurance. They want dog parks. They want bicycles. They want weekends off. They want to come in at 12 o'clock so they can have their Frappuccino. These are different people for a different age. And they are the largest working group that we're going to deal with for the next 25 years.
Yeah, and you're right. When things get tough, and we saw that happen in the early days of COVID, right? We saw a lot of uncertainty in the industry. And when we see things like that happen, like the late 2008, 2009, that time, people look to the folks with the gray hairs, right? Because when that happens, they look for the steady hand who's been there and has been through who's weathered this type of storm before.
So, what's interesting, Ted, is that, before COVID, you could have done things differently. COVID taught us so many things because it punished us for not being prepared. So you got to ask yourself a question as a dealer or a president of a dealer group. Are you ready for the next COVID? And what are you going to do if it happens again? The government might be out of money. They might not be sending checks in the mail so people can buy cars. We might have to figure it out again old school with a strong fixed operations, a strong used car and acquisition team, reconditioning, working with customers in the drive to get that extra hour or two out of every repair order to make ends meet. and with all financial products being basically online, you can't really put them into the F&I area and expect to make thousands and thousands of dollars. So, the last few years have spoiled dealers tremendously, and it's put them to sleep when it comes to being up on technology and recruiting really good people from the millennial generation as well as Generation Z. My new company and my principles and my objectives are to bring the automotive industry back to where they belong, at the forefront of everything today. And that's the goal.
These days, everybody, you and I included, we all interact here on the phone, right? We're all on the phones. What an amazing tool. We carry it everywhere. It's everywhere we go is this tool. And, we got to look at it as such, because we're consumers also. We have expectations. By the way, you're right. The expectations have changed, right? The expectations since 2020, everything is now a whole new world. And I think it took the automotive industry by surprise. Yeah, you know what? There was nobody more resilient than the automotive industry. It took probably the next 10 years of things that would have happened, and it compressed everything like into 12 months. And it showed how resilient we were. And in fixed operations, we were now called an essential business, right? How great was that we were able to remain open? And
it's a blessing that most of the dealer groups across America had, very resilient and strong fixed operations. But the people are looking to hire today spend, Generation Z, let's call it, over 4 hours a day on social media. Almost 60% of all Generation Z people, whether it's a man or a woman, spend over 4 hours or more on social media. And they also say that social media is an important part of their life. So basically what I'm getting at is that, we have to adapt to this new culture, because yes, we still have to sell service cars. We still got to take care of customers. But the introduction of mobile pickup and delivery gives people what they get with Uber Eats, or anything that they want, they can have instantaneous. So why not have it in the dealership environment? Talk about training and how you attract these new people. Like we said before, give them a lifestyle, give them things that their money can't buy. Right. So when you have a contest, where you and I come from was like, how much money are we going to make? Right. Why not give them a dog, pick a pedigree, whatever you want, buy them some hardware so they can enjoy gaming with their beloved spouse. I've seen my children, play with my grandchildren on their lap while they're texting and playing a video game at the same time. Yeah. It's completely acceptable, out of this generation. So how do you harness all those things and give them a place where they want to, be a part of a company culture, right? That's rewarding. They want to be part of the industry and be recognized, for new innovations and things like that. How do you do it? So again, my job in the next 40 years is to bridge the gap between the automotive industry and technology companies. And I think I could do that. I've got a lot of friends like you with platforms like this, and a lot of hardworking people that are Generation Xers and late millennials that know what I'm talking about is true. And that's what we're here to do today.
One of the companies that's involved with us, David O'Brien at Quantum 5 out of Scottsdale, been with the Roundtable for the past 3 years, has put together a training company with technology where they use the gaming applications to help train salespeople and service advisors. Sarah Vantine, who is Vice President of Sales at Quantum 5 and does a lot of work with us, co-hosting a lot of our pop-up events, and my daughter, who just graduated college last year, are now developing the training using these new gaming technologies to train the retail people. Dean, I never thought I would see this ever happen. And my daughter said she never thought she'd be in the car business, and here she is.
Can you think about this for a moment? So in my organization, SFT Consulting Group, we're working on designs for new lift systems and computer workstations for technicians. So it's almost like a gaming environment, but actually working on a vehicle. So basically, when they get into their workstation, it's built much like a gaming area. They can access technology. And I'm looking for partners around the world to help me build this new technology and these new lift systems that are revolutionary. This way, when somebody joins the workforce, they really want to go to work. They want to get into that workstation. They want to start their daily routine. And, what we have to think about is this, maybe not all people want to come in at 7 a.m. The population doesn't wake up at 7 a.m. anymore. Only people our age do that. We still go to the post office, for God's sakes, and lick stamps. But this new generation is going to teach us so much, and they're like night owls. They're like bats. their best abilities come after dark, and their problem solving skills, and they hunt for food after 2 a.m. It's just amazing with this young generation in terms of technology and real industry changing pieces that they're going to be able to put together for us.
We're speaking today to Dean Ciccarelli, one of the great retail people in our industry. He's the architect of SFT Consulting Group. He's here with us today at the Roundtable. Dean, what do you see as you look out into the future, the near future and far future, for fixed operations at dealerships? Do you see growth there? Because a lot of competing forces happening in our industry right now.
So that's a great question, Ted, and I'm going to give you some clues from the younger generations we're talking about today. So I think bundled services have to be a part of fixed operations. And you hear that word and you're like, well, what does that mean to us? Okay. Well, my son took his Toyota Tacoma in for service the other day, and we were kidding around. He says, well, Dad, he goes, how come they don't ask me to have somebody come to my house and clean, when my truck is being serviced while I'm at the dealership for 3.5 hours? I said, that's a great question. So you think about that and you say, wow, can a dealership actually evolve into bundling some additional services outside of a dealership? The other thing is that, we talked about, what do people want today? Well, they want everything right away. They want to be able to hit that button and have it happen. People go into the service drive today and they're standing around for 30 minutes. Between the time they drive in, their porter gives them a little write-up ticket, and the time that they go up to a service advisor. There's kiosks, yes, today, but look how lacking, the data points are between our industry and higher technology companies, right? Cars are smart enough today. I told Toyota this years ago, your car knows when it drives into a service drive, it knows what it needs. So why do I have to communicate that to you? Cars, they know what they need today. So just, input a cord or have Wi-Fi, let the car talk to a system that can actually do all the customer write-up. But in the end, it's absolutely a fantastic place to be.
Dean, if you had to give advice, last question for today, to a young person who's thinking about starting a career like you and I did many years ago in the retail automotive business, but today in 2023, what would you tell that person?
Well, first of all, I would look for a company that offers a clear path to advancement with an underlying factor of training as part of the DNA and dynamic of the company. I would look for a mentor. I would look for somebody that could offer you the opportunity to give you the working knowledge base that you can't read in books or watch on YouTube. Basically putting together a shared fate comp plan, not just in the technician department, but in the sales operation, ASM, even in the parts department too. The shared fate business model has been done over the ages, especially in the U.S. military. The Navy SEALs can't move to the next exercise unless everybody finishes an exercise together. And there's not enough emphasis on flexibility. People have lives today. It's very expensive to have childcare for a young family. It's very expensive to have pet care. It's very expensive to have all these different things that people need to survive. If a company can somehow connect that gap between what people need, they will be the highest sought after employer in the area. And I mentioned earlier, have a dog park, have pet insurance, have bicycles. These are the things that you need to do. Besides that, you need team events that bridge the gap between generations in the workforce. Gen Xers with Gen Zers, Gen Zers with Gen Xers. You need to combine teams of different people so they can start to understand what makes them better than the previous generation. So my purpose in the next 40 years, like I told you, is to help the industry get up to standard with all that.
All right, Dean Ciccarelli, everybody. Dean, if our audience wants to reach out to you and learn more, I see there's an email address scrolling across the bottom. There's a phone number. Is that a cell phone as well?
Yeah, that's my company's cell phone and also my email address to get a hold of me, the architect of SFT Consulting, which is the future of the automotive industry, to actually bring it to where technology is today.
Can we text that number or just a phone call?
You can do both.
All right. All right. Dean Ciccarelli, everybody. SFT Consulting Group. You see his email at the bottom of the screen, his phone number there. Dean, what a great honor and a surprise to have you back on the event and on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And congratulations to you, by the way, on all the success. I've been following your career for many years, and you've done a lot of great things and continue to do a lot of great things.
It's been a great honor to be here today, Ted. Thanks so much, and have a great show.
Thank you. Dean Ciccarelli, everybody, one of the greats in automotive retail, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
To close out the day, we're shining a light on our star anchors, Tully Williams, Ed Roberts, and Sarah Vantine in a segment from our pop-up event.
Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable third pop-up event, exclusively sponsored by BG Products. Ted, we have some really great friends with us here on the panel today.
Sarah, I am so excited because not only is this the third pop-up event for the Fixed Ops Roundtable, but we've got the anchors of the event, yourself included, plus Ed Roberts and Tully Williams with us today. Gentlemen, congratulations, and thank you for being part of the Fixed Ops Roundtable as well.
Well, thank you, Ted, very much. This is a great event.
Thanks for having us here. This is phenomenal. All right, so Sarah, the first Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up took place at Bozard Ford, and Ed, we talked a whole lot about culture and process. Kind of take us through that, if you would.
Culture is where it's at. I mean, we can hire people and we can bring them into our store. And if we just hire them for what they're capable of, we're not necessarily going to get any loyalty from them. But when we truly connect with them and learn what their purpose is in life, then we can truly allow them to bring something to the team and become loyal and become part of the family.
Yeah, we saw that at Bozard Ford. It really stood out. One of the best run dealerships in the nation. And you know what? When we went over to the Nilo company just a few weeks later, Tully, you brought it home with your 10 different locations and just amazed at the culture and process there.
It was super exciting. Like Ed says, it's all about the people. I think you give those people the chance to succeed and show them how they succeed. And then you have to have core values at your store. Does your dealership really stand for core values? As we have it on all of our cards here, we talk about core values. And what was really good about our pop-up event, what did our employees talk about? Not talking about making money, making hours. It was talking about how great of a dealership group we are. Like Ed's store did as well. They talked about the culture and the place they come to work at every day. To me, that's the shining star, Ted.
You know, Sarah, culture has really risen to the forefront and to the top of the conversation. And typically, a lot of people thought that these pop-ups would be about making more money and things along those lines. And really, it's not. It's about the people and what happens inside the dealership.
You know, that has been so exciting to see this evolution and how automotive dealerships are really embracing that whole culture aspect. And Ed, Tully, y'all have done a phenomenal job of really encouraging this in your organizations. And it's really a shining light for others in the industry to embrace it.
People, they want to repeat what they get recognized for. So when we recognize what they're doing and what they're doing well, and we let them know that we appreciate it, and that's what makes them a valuable part of the team, they want to do it again because they love that recognition.
I would, Ed, you're spot on. I think talking about, as I have TVs in our stores, we're talking about all the greatness that our employees doing every day. Here's the thing is that if they are doing a great job and they feel successful, what happens? They do well for them and their families. But it's all about making sure they know that you thank them every day. It doesn't cost us anything. Saying thank you, having the opportunities, not being scared to take chances. That's what it's all about. Our people make our business. And what's really good about our dealership and our dealer is it's all about the people is what he talks about every day when we go out to those stores, Ed. I mean, it's the same at your store.
Well, it's like you said, it's about the people, and it's from the top down. It can't just be one level or mid-level down. It's got to be from the top down, and then certainly that way at Nilo, certainly that way at Bozard, and we love being a part of it.
And it was really interesting to see is that like our women at the dealership is that the opportunities they had where we had Chris, our controller, started as a cashier, and now she's a controller. You know, as you know, controllers run the stores. She has done an incredible job and then gives those opportunities for everybody else. Do we have a tech path? I know Ed talks about it a lot. Is that do we have a tech path for your parts person? Do you have a tech path for your porters and for your riders and your technicians? Showing them the success they can have at your store is the best, isn't it, Ed?
Absolutely. Developing people to allow them to become more than what they ever thought they could.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. And when you develop people, we can say we have training programs, but who wants to go to training? But everybody likes to be developed, and it prepares them for the next position in front of them, from coming from an entry-level spot to the comptroller, like Tully said. It prepares them for that rather than just being thrown into the fire and expected to survive.
We love the success. Hiring within is like 99%, right? And when you see these great people start as a porter, and then they become a shop assistant, and then they become an hourly technician, and a flat rate technician. I mean, it's almost like you get tears in your eyes, like, oh my God, isn't that the greatest thing ever?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of my valets is now running my quick lane, who's only been with me for 3.5 years. And to go from an entry-level spot to run the number one quick lane in the country is pretty strong. So the opportunities are endless if you set yourself up with
that. Is so cool. Isn't it great?
The opportunity to develop people.
Oh, I love it.
Yep.
I think the stories of the pop-up events are the stories of these dealerships. Every one is unique, and they've got so many nuances. Ed, when we visited Bozard Ford Lincoln, you brought on the mobile service team. After you gave us a tour of the shop, you took us outside, you showed us what the mobile service teams are doing, the two-person teams. That ended up becoming a separate panel, but mobile service is something you've really pioneered there. And I know that was a big part of the message and continues to be at Bozard.
We've forced people to go through our process for decades, and they've told us for decades that they don't like it. So being able to offer mobile service and bring service to the doorstep is the Amazon of automobile service.
Oh, I like that. Amazon of the automotive service. Yeah.
And Sarah, for a long time, a couple of years now, you and I have heard Tully talk. It's all about the hours and repeat and referral business, my friend. While Tully, at the pop-up event we did at Nilo, took everything back to the hours. And Tully, I thought it was amazing how your people are on message. Parts, sells, hours. You have taken two departments, service and parts, and made them one where they really work together as a team.
You know, part of a culture of a store is not having silos. And, you know, first silo was parts and service. Okay, that silo needs to be broken, right? And I think that if everybody realizes that we're going after one message and one thing, ours is what we do. Everybody's paid off that goal. And that takes away that. And the next piece is that the store is one silo. Parts and service and the sales department, fixed and sales, has to be on the same page. Building that bridge between and showing how fixed helps sales and, of course, sales helps fixed has to be on point every day, Ed.
Absolutely. And really developing our people allows removing the silos as being a byproduct. We don't have to remove the silos when we develop our people, and we get everybody rolling in the same direction. When everybody's rolling in the same direction, we don't have the people drilling holes in the boat.
Oh, I love that. You know, it's so funny is when you bring someone from the outside, which our goal is not to, they're like, you guys do everything different here. Oh, you mean we're happy and we're making money? Oh my God, what a concept.
Rich and tired?
Rich and tired.
Ed, you also have something unique there called Bozard University. You talked about developing people. Tell us a little bit about that. Give us some background on that.
We've got several development programs at our store, and Bozard University is really just housing all of those development programs to where it's a destination for someone to go and chase the path that they want to be. A lot of times we see other people on the outside and we say, I think I could do that. So they don't necessarily know what all the details of that position is until they get out and get involved in doing it. And that's what Bozard University is all about, is preparing those guys for that next position in front of them.
I think showing everybody the different opportunities where people maybe are a salesperson, want to become a service advisor, or a service advisor want to go to the sales side, or a technician that might be getting tired that wants to come over to a service writer, or even a salesperson, having the opportunities for all of them to see what happens and the potential of what they can be in those positions is a must. You know, a lot of times you look at a lot of our service advisors, right, and our service managers, they started as a car washer or a porter. Our technicians started as most of those as porters, and look at the success they're having today. It's just unbelievable.
Absolutely, and it carries on, and that allows us to be in what kind of business?
Repeat and referral it.
Because when our employees are having fun, our customers are having fun.
And it's obvious to everybody who watched that pop-up and was there with us at the pop-up. Okay, so now, Tully and Ed, this is going to be a tough act to follow. You have really both raised the bar on these pop-ups. Amazing preparation you've shown in getting the entire team's ready.
I think it's all about, and Ed's going to say the same thing, is that it's all about our people shining and talking about what they do every day and telling us what we do different at our store. And that to me is the most important part. I thought the pop-up event is about the people at our store and the success at our store, Ted. And I want to say thank you for allowing us to show that out.
So we have 329 associates at our store, and I think we ended up having 50 or 60 on there total, and another 200 of them was wondering why they didn't get the chance. So we're going to have to do it again.
We're going to have to come back.
Oh, we want to come back to
All right, everybody. So stay with us here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We're at the third pop-up event with Sarah Vantine, Ed Roberts, and Tully Williams. A lot more to come here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
FORTSTOCK was a blast. We got our groove on with the best flower power in all of Fixed Ops. Ted Ings, myself, and our Fixed Ops Roundtable team appreciate you all for tuning into the 21st Fixed Ops Roundtable event. Make sure to set a reminder for Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern to watch our live After Dark show, where we will announce the Best Practice Award winners. Look to the skies. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's the 22nd Fixed Ops Roundtable virtual event. That's right. The Automotive Avengers are assembling on November 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. So get ready to suit up, and we'll see you then.